right. Good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. I survived. I am back in the saddle. Kim St. Ange, I have to tell you, that was a pretty steamy day yesterday to be out there playing golf. It was rough. Somebody had to do it.
Well, glad that you were able to tell us your story and
I
survived it.
I did it. I golfed yesterday there in St. Charles County at the Old Hickory, and we ended up 2 under for the day. We didn't take any mulligans, so I'm proud of that. We were 2 under par for the 4 of us. But let me tell you how far we were from winning that tournament at 2 under. The winners yesterday were 19 under par.
Was there someone who was really, really good on that team?
Yeah,
or they just had a good day of golf?
They brought a couple of ringers, and
there you go.
They were driving the ball 350 yards to start with. So, yeah, it was humbling. But we didn't get dead last because it gave you a golden toilet award if you were dead last. So we did okay. We did better than average, but yeah, that's kind of how that went. And shout out to Senator Adam Schnelting and the folks at the St. Charles GOP PAC there. They did a great job getting that all arranged, having plenty of fluids for us, which was the key. I actually had a couple of beers the first 9. And then I just gave up on that because I sucked down probably 6 or 7 bottles of water and some Gatorade before that thing was over yesterday.
Oh, I bet.
It was hot. It was a heater. But, that's what you get when you schedule a golf tournament in the end of July in St. Louis. And it's going to be hotter today. So how about that? My wife is going to the Muni tonight.
Oh, gosh. I mean, I know they have the fans, but that
I'm
really
like,
help
she
that
goes,
much.
oh, we scheduled it months ago. I don't know what to do. It's going to be miserable out there. And I'm like, yeah.
Well, they let you bring in
know.
those the handheld fans you can bring in.
Oh,
no,
can
you can't. You're shaking your head.
No?
No, I'm shaking my head because that's not really
it
going
sounds
to do
miserable.
anything.
Yeah.
No,
it's still not going to help.
That's just blowing the hot air around. It's like
Right.
having the furnace blower on for you. But regardless, thank you for letting me take off an hour early yesterday, Kim.
Yeah, you bet.
That was very kind of you. I do appreciate that, picking up the slacker here and letting me take off. So we're back today. We got plenty to talk about. We're turning them slowly, folks. Can I just tell you that we collectively, as people who are pro Trump and pro making America great again. It's cheap to throw around the term MAGA. You're making America great again. You're cheapening the phrase when you shorten it to an acronym. Just don't do that. What Donald Trump's done the last week has been incredible. And then you got people like Chuck Schumer claiming it's all fake. He didn't really do it. They don't know what to do. But he's got this EU deal going on. He's about to crack down on Russia. He's brought peace to numerous places around the world. Yesterday, he stood up and said he disagreed with Benjamin Netanyahu on starvation in Gaza.
Yeah, I was surprised about that, by the way.
Well,
that
I'm
was
just
the
saying,
most. That was the most I'd heard Trump talk about the whole situation in Gaza.
I think that it just shows not that he didn't already have the full strength and confidence of his convictions, but it also shows somebody gaining his footing and his confidence to speak out where he disagrees with, not that he's ever had trouble publicly debating people, but on Israel specifically, I mean, he is. They've said he's been the greatest American president for the state of Israel. On this particular issue, the world's kind of been coming down on Netanyahu for not allowing more aid in. Well, the truth of the matter is the people in Hamas have been stealing the food aid and reselling it, and they made like $500,000. What did they say? $500,000 in profit or something from stealing the food aid and redistributing it.
That was what Netanyahu said. That
Yes.
figure. So my question be though, how would Netanyahu know that number?
Well, because Netanyahu runs the Mossad. The Mossad knows everything. How do you think we got pagers on the pockets of all those terrorists over in the Houthis and all those people? I mean, they've got spies everywhere. They know what's going on over there. But I'm just saying it's been a winning week for Donald Trump, and even you see more and more evidence of it. And the left is starting to crack at the seams. They can't stand it. Bill Maher came out last night and admitted that that he tariffs must work. He goes, I would have sworn that they wouldn't, but I've got to admit when I'm blanking wrong. He's dropping F-bombs on him for that. So it's historic. What you're witnessing is historic, and you're going to tell your grandkids about this someday. And the left doesn't know what to do. I'm not quite sure how they recover, except they seem to want to go further to the left. I cannot wrap my brain around it. Maybe it was the heat yesterday, but there were a lot of red-blooded patriots out there playing golf in that incredible heat. And shout out to all of them this morning. It was good to see a lot of friendly faces out there yesterday, raising a little bit of money. That was good. Hey, the couple big things going on around here. Obviously, we got that pending Boeing strike that we're keeping an eye on, and what all's going on with that. We've got the situation that in Washington, and we've talked about this a little bit. You know, Billy Long just got confirmed as commissioner of the IRS. 6 months into Donald Trump's term, there hasn't been a commissioner at the IRS. The Senate has we're in control of the Senate, but the Democrats have managed to slow down the process of these confirmations. Well, now they're about to go on recess. And the president wants them to go on a complete recess so he can make recess appointments. And there seems to be a hesitation to want to do that. I don't understand why. We'll check in with Ryan Schmelz about that just a little bit later and get you the latest on that. And there may be another big, beautiful bill. Can you believe it? We'll talk about that, in fact, in next hour. Right now, Ethan, let's get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Short List.
On the trade deal, over the weekend, Donald Trump announced a new trade deal with the European Union. It will result in a $90 billion per year tax hike on American families. When you raise tariffs, the American families pay for it.
How is it possible to be a United States senator and be that obtrusive, that dense, that he doesn't realize the trillions of dollars foreign countries are about to pay to the United States for the right to sell their goods here? And in the European deal, we don't pay anything when goods go the other way. That is a plus.
This one was a surprising one to me, given everything that's going on in Russia, what happened in Iran, what happened in Gaza. The bottom line is this. Despite everything that's going on in the world right now, Republicans are more trusted on Democrats when it comes to foreign policy and the world at large.
CNN stunned. Good thing for that Enton guy. He's the only one over there besides Jennings willing to tell the truth on CNN.
We have got to make great American cities safe again for families and children. If you want to take your wife or your children out for a meal, you shouldn't be worried about street violence. And the only way to destroy that street violence is to take the thugs who engage in that violence and throw them in prison.
Absolutely. J.D. Vance, he's outraged because this public beating in Cincinnati took place in his own home state, right? And I was in Ohio this weekend. It hadn't even made the news down there yet when I was there. They beat a couple of a group of people, black people, that is, beat up 2 or 3 white people in the streets. There was no police response. And this morning, the police are trying to backpedal on that one.
If I weren't around, you'd have right now 6 major wars going on. India would be fighting with Pakistan. You see what we just did yesterday with 2 nations that we're trading with. And during the trade, I said, I'm not going to do any trade deal unless you guys settle your differences.
Yeah, there's Donald Trump bringing the heat again yesterday, talking about the peacetime president, which will drive crazy the people that were raising so much hell when he dropped a couple of, bunker busters over in Iran recently. He's settled quite a few disputes so far, and it looks like he's about to turn his focus to Ukraine and Russia again.
Yeah,
That's going to be
giving Putin just 10 days now instead of the 50.
Right.
to, I guess, make some sort of a peace deal, or the tariffs go up, the trade talks, I'm assuming, would kind of be done.
He understands the power of negotiation and how to leverage things, for sure. Here's the one thing we haven't talked about yet, really, is a shooting in New York that happened yesterday. We're getting a few more details on a guy. There's a picture of a guy in a suit carrying a scary black rifle, and he walks through the streets of downtown Manhattan into an office building. Nobody stops him. Nobody questions him. He's carrying a long rifle. Nobody approaches him and asks him what's going on. No police officers, no nothing. This is in a city with the strongest gun laws in America. You're not allowed to conceal carry in New York City. And probably what happened yesterday might have been prevented if they allowed people to protect themselves. Because when you protect yourself, you're allowed to protect others. Remember in Michigan, the knife incident? That guy got stopped by a good guy with a gun. This guy was able to walk into a building, spray the lobby, and take the elevator to the 33rd floor of a building that houses the NFL and KPMG and a bunch of other really big companies. It's just outrageous what they allowed to happen there. But we're going to talk more about that here coming up in just a couple of minutes. I promise you that. Right now, Ethan, let's get to our national anthem, please.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we've watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, good morning to you. Okay, it is hot. What the heck? Now, we also have some road work going on. Now, if you happen to be an eastbound 64 driver, there's road work at Highway K right now, and they've got the right lane blocked. That leaves us with only one left lane, and it's a delay. So if you are headed for Highway K, we've just got a jam on either side of it. Now, by the time you get to 94, things look fine and open up. Now, everything else looks good, at least interstate-wise. Eastbound 70 is in good shape. No problems on 44. 55 looks good, and we are quiet for drivers on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, let's talk for just a moment here about your garage door, the important role it plays in your life, even though you don't really pay much attention to it. Let's just face it; it's just it's an abusive situation. You don't really love your garage door like you should. It protects your cars, your property. It goes up and down when you need it to until it doesn't. Then guess what? It's a little bit of an emergency, and you're in need of help. And when that happens, I want you to call the Overhead Door Company. I'm going to give you their phone number, 314-781-5200. That gets you immediate help. They're going to give you same-day service, same-day emergency service, so you're not stuck in or outside of your garage, right? That's important. You want to get your car in out of the weather, but the garage door won't go up because the spring's broken or the garage door's broken. they're going to get out there and help you. Right now, they're offering their Cash for Clunkers deal. Don't forget, a couple $100 toward a new garage door for your main door. If you have a third door, they'll throw in another $100. You get both doors replaced. They haul the old ones away, gets taken care of. Take advantage of that while it lasts. The Cash for Clunkers deal at Overhead Door Company. Call them at 314-781-5200. Tell them Marc Cox sent you, or schedule online anytime at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules. Truth, backbone. Marc Cox on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative.
Down the street, no one said anything. I'd be curious to see how many 911 calls were made. We need to empower ourselves, deputize ourselves. If you would have seen that person, I guess you would have acted a lot different, as would have I. These businesses that have security in the lobbies, there's a knee-jerk reaction. They may enhance it, but they do a cost-benefit analysis, and it'll go right back to the same. Only when we respect police officers, when respect is given back to the police officers, when we end this defund the police, when we end these sending in therapists or counselors, will people respect and, yes, be slightly afraid that I might get taken out before I do anything. We see this perpetrator, this sicko, as well as criminals all over Manhattan, all over the country, not respecting the law, feeling they can do what they want. Only when we collectively push back, fight back, and act will this lessen and hopefully stop.
Yeah, that is a retired a retired New York Police Department employee. He was a detective. His name is Bill Stanton, and he's talking about this shooting yesterday in downtown Manhattan. And you know what a shocker! This Shane Tamura walks. He's 27, 28 years old.
Yeah, I think 27.
Walks through the streets of Manhattan holding a semi-automatic sporting rifle. It happened to be black and looked scary, but it's just a one trigger pull, one shotgun. It's not fully automatic or anything. He drove across country with it. He didn't buy it in New York because, of course, it's illegal to buy a gun in New York. Just about. They make it so hard. And how did he get the gun? He clearly had mental problems, and now they're suggesting the latest news on this is that he had a note on him when police found him, when they searched his body. He had a note that said that he suffered from CTE, the brain injury from concussions.
Yeah, from football.
And that he was mad that the NFL, he said, used its extensive influence to keep laws from changing on how to treat, I guess, or prevent CTE. So he decided to just take matters into his own hands and go up there and kill Roger Goodell. I mean, he didn't name Goodell, but he was there because that's where the NFL was headquartered, in that building.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, this is reminding me of the UHC CEO, where the guy was so mad about the way that the system was going that to make a point, he felt like, well, I should clearly kill somebody. I should murder an innocent person. And I mean, sadly, that did get people talking. And I'm sure that that's what this guy wanted. I mean,
yeah,
CTE is a problem. I do know that. I mean, there's been many studies that have talked about the head trauma of repeated blows to the head, even when you're wearing a helmet. But it's really sad. This guy was a security officer, it sounds like, at some point, I believe, in Vegas.
Yeah, he had a concealed firearms permit from Vegas with a 2027 expiration date. I mean, I guess you could argue that his mental illness, maybe he believed his mental illness was caused by CTE.
That was my understanding, because he played, obviously not professionally, but it sounds like he may have played in high school.
Just high school, huh? Wow.
I think it was just high school. I don't believe I remember seeing anything about him playing in college.
Well, I mean, he killed a lot of people, including an off-duty police officer who was basically working seconds as a security guard in this building. And, I mean, this is another example you could say. Now, I don't know if the guy had been he had a Las Vegas Metropolitan PD concealed firearms permit. So what you have to believe here is that he had a documented mental health history, according to law enforcement in Las Vegas. If that's true, this would be another example of somebody falling through the cracks with our system, right? Every time we find out somebody had a documented situation of mental health problems, and yet they were still allowed to go buy a gun. So I need to know, the question needs to be asked, where did this fall through the cracks? Who documented his mental health history, and why was it not relayed to the FBI, who would have gone in on the National Criminal Background Check, and they would have flagged him and prevented him from buying a weapon? Now, for all we know, he owned the weapon before he was diagnosed with some sort of mental health problem, before it was documented. I mean, he could have owned it before. There's no indication that he bought it after. And here in Missouri, concealed carry license, I believe, lasts for 5 years. So it's possible he had this. It's set to expire in 2 years. So 3 years ago, maybe he bought the weapon or got the concealed carry license, and since then, he was a documented mental health history happened since that point.
Well, I know there
could be a lot of reasons here.
I believe they found medication on him too.
Yes, and they found extra rounds and a handgun, some other stuff in his car. But he drove from Colorado. They've tracked him across the country to New York to carry out this crime. Clearly, he's nuts. The point that the police officer was making there is, here you have a city that's so locked down, that's so afraid of an inanimate object called a gun, that they think by banning all of them and not letting anybody have one, they're helping society, but they're not. Because had there been people with concealed carry on the streets of New York that day, they might have been able to stop this guy before he committed this crime. They might have, but you've got a lot of dense people in these big cities that run things. Unfortunately, the blue cities have gone to hell in a handbasket in so many different ways. All right, coming up, we're going to get to Kim on a Whim. Stand by. We'll be back here in just a minute.
Rhino Shield is far superior to even the best traditional exterior house paint. Rhino Shield is 8 to 10 times thicker than paint and comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. Rhino Shield is the only ceramic coating company that has been chosen by Disney, This Old House, and 3 times on HGTV's Curb Appeal, where every episode is concentrated on unpainted brick, bonds and seals to stucco, wood, hardy, block, color lock, masonite, and more. No better product for those steel aluminum sided homes that have become, chalky and tired looking. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. After 15 years, we've got a great reputation and a superior product. As long as it's affordable, why wouldn't you do it? Before you make the costly mistake of painting with traditional paint, you'd be best served to call Rhino Shield today. We are the experts and our evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. Tell them, ladies.
No pain, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
All right. Shout out to my friends at Window World for all the great work they do. They're out there working hard every day to make sure people have access to great built windows, and they have installed more than just about anybody else in the area. I think over 70,000 people since they got started in the St. Louis area. 70,000 homes have had their thermal efficiency and their beauty enhanced with Window World. Just go read the Google reviews for yourself. The thousands of 5-star Google reviews and the great ratings by the Better Business Bureau and all of that stuff. They really do great work. I'm just telling you that. They're offering 18 to 36 months interest-free financing for these windows. So reach out to them. Tell them you heard Marc Cox bragging about them. 314-993-1800. WindowWorldSTL.com.
I'm Stuart Varley, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Boeing, Procter & Gamble, Starbucks, and Royal Caribbean Group were among companies scheduled to report earnings today. Also, Merck, candy and cookie maker Mondelez, Norfolk Southern, United Health Group, and Jeep's parent company, Stellantis. Kathy Entwistle, private wealth advisor at Morgan Stanley, is encouraged by earnings so far.
We think we're going to get good earnings, more revisions, upward earnings, and great opportunities for next year. We're looking at a 7,200 mid-year next year on the S&P.
Also today, the job openings and labor turnover survey, job openings on the last business day of June, and S&P CoreLogic releases its Case-Shiller National Home Price Index for May. April saw the slowest rate of growth in 2 years. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Ginny Cosola, invested in you.
When I started skiing, I didn't think about setting any records. When I won my first race, I didn't think about how many more I might win. So when I made it to the top of the world, it never crossed my mind to stop. Being the best isn't the same as being your best. There are no shortcuts to the top, so find the people who help get you there. I'm Michaela Schifrin, and that's what Team Stiefel means to me. If you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stiefel, where success meets success.
Stiefel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decision.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. Well, of course, it's ridiculously hot, but the roads, we've generally looked fine with one major exception, and that is we've got road work going on, or did. It looks to me like they may have picked this up. It was eastbound 6440 at Highway K, and they had the right lane blocked, and it really caused a jam behind it. But it looks like they picked that up, so hopefully that will start to thin out fairly quickly. And that was really the only issue at this hour. Throughout the rest of the area, traffic is in good shape. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
All right, let me tell you a little bit about our flooring at my house, because, of course, all the flooring in my house comes from Michael's Flooring Outlet. We moved in a year ago, and of course, just as we were looking at the house and we were making our plans, my wife and I both decided that the existing flooring was not going to work for us, and we ideally wanted it installed before we moved in. And my friends at Michael's Flooring Outlet, this was our fourth transaction with them over the years, and it was fantastic. They helped us narrow it down to a manufactured hardwood that is beautiful, wide planks, durable. We have a 60-pound golden retriever who's always running around the house, and we needed to get this in and get it done before the furniture got there. They accomplished that, and the follow-up after the sale, as usual, was beautiful. We even got some carpeting in the bedrooms, and it was all flawless. And that's been my experience with Michael's all four times, and I think it'll be yours as well. If you read the reviews, you're going to see the same thing from many, many other customers. Listen, Mike Reynolds has been in the business coming up on 30 years. He knows that word of mouth matters, and customer service is so important to him. It's a priority. Go visit one of his stores if you're shopping. At least that's what he asks. Give them a shot at your business. Go to their store with the warehouse up in St. Peter's. In Old Town St. Peter's, they're in Darien Prairie, and they're also in West County off of Olive west of 270. Tell them Marc Cox sent you, or go online anytime to igotfloored.com.
The Cards, the Marlins.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
When you're approaching retirement, there are a lot of questions to answer. Do you have enough money to fund your income for life? How should you claim Social Security? And what's your plan for health care and long-term care? Hi, I'm Eric Robert, Director of Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Don't leave your retirement to chance. It's crucial to understand and address relevant risks before you retire. Our team can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Your home deserves siding that's as tough as it is beautiful. At Lakeside Renovation and Design, we install James Hardy siding, built to handle everything the St. Louis weather throws its way: rain, snow, or summer heat. Not only does it look amazing, but it also protects your home with long-lasting durability and low maintenance. Plus, with our expert team, you'll love the seamless installation process. Ready to give your home a stunning upgrade? Call Lakeside Renovation and Design today or visit lakesiderd.com. Protect your home with the siding that's built to last.
Fox News National, St. Louis Local, 97.1 FM Talk. Kim on a whim.
Of course, people are freaking out over this tariff talk and what does this mean and how will this impact what we pay? And, you know, we have seen some of these companies that have implemented a hike on different products because of the tariffs. Now, some of them maybe down the road could be justified that there truly was an added cost to them. But some of these companies, I feel like, are just trying to make a point. They're being political about it.
Yes.
There's a United States senator from Nevada. You know, let me just talk about this. In Nevada. See, I say
bad.
So there's a city in Iowa, Nevada. So
There's one in Missouri named Nevada, isn't there?
There's too many pronunciations of it, and I just get confused every time. There's a senator from there. I'm going to say that, okay?
Nevada.
Now, Mark, you're confusing me now. And she posts some picture on X, and here's the caption. Donald Trump claims other countries will pay his tariff taxes. Here's the reality in Reno. And it's a really close-up shot of a receipt that says that someone, had bought a cold brew coffee and that there was a 10% tariff adjustment cost added to the total. Of course, everyone's saying, first of all, it wouldn't even be 10%, a 10% markup on a $4.50 order. That doesn't even make sense. They're saying it would be if anything, it'd be like a 1 point something percent. It wouldn't be a 10% increase. And the other thing they're saying is, isn't it convenient that you didn't post the name of the coffee shop or anything? It's just this really tight shot where you could have easily drawn that up yourself on your little laptop, Senator, and printed that out, and then you're like, oh, look at this. This is the impact of Trump's tariffs.
Here's an idea. Make your coffee at home, and it won't cost you that much to begin with.
Also an option.
$4.50 for a cup. But on that point, it would be good to know what the source of it was. Where are they sourcing their coffee from? Because there are some South American countries where we do import coffee who have not budged on this, and some of them are facing higher tariffs as a result.
Right.
And some of them are doing it because we're penalizing them.
Well, they're talking about, for example, the increase in the price of cocoa. Okay, so Hershey has come out and said that they're increasing prices. There are various reasons why some of these companies would be increasing prices. And like you said, some of them truly would be justified, and they probably will pass some of them off to the consumer. But I think so many of these different companies are going to use this to make some sort of a political point. You mentioned that Bill Maher bite earlier, and I want to play it because I do love when people can, and I respect it, by the way, when people can finally come out and say, look, I was wrong. Listen to this.
I remember along with probably most people, was saying at the beginning, by the 4th of July, somebody had a thing how the economy was going to be tanked by then. And I was kind of like, well, that seems right to me. But that didn't happen. Now, it could happen tomorrow. I'm just saying that's reality. So let's work first from the reality of that, not from I just hate Donald Trump. Because that's boring and doesn't get us anywhere and leads you to dishonesty. Because the truth is, I don't know what his strategy is. But look, the stock market is at record highs. I know not everybody lives by the stock market, but I also drive around. I don't see a country in a depression at all. I see people out there just living their lives. And I would have thought, and I got to own it, that these tariffs were going to sink this economy by this time, and they didn't.
Thank you. And he's right. I think there's a lot of people who probably should be admitting that, like he is, but never will.
Who was the guy he was talking to?
Oh, I'm trying to remember who he was talking to.
So it was a guy named Club Random. Does that make sense? I think he hosts a podcast.
Never heard of it.
He must host a left-wing podcast because he was trying to convince this guy that he needed to not be opposed to everything Trump just because it came from Trump. Let's see, Club Random with Bill Maher. So maybe that's the name of his podcast. So it doesn't say on here who the guy was that was on there with Maher yesterday when this happened. I don't know, but you're right. And here's the thing: I've got a soundbite here this morning from the chief economist, the chief analyst for KPMG, one of the biggest firms in the world, admitting that, well, I guess Trump was right. To me, I guess I don't think like an economist, which is a good thing, but this has been a matter of fairness to me all along, Kim. The whole question, and Trump's been talking about it. You can go back and find him on Oprah's show 30 years ago talking about this. He said, why do we let other countries take advantage of us? They put high tariffs on our products to prevent us from entering their market. So American companies get robbed, and we don't do the same thing to them when their goods come into our country. Mm-hmm. Why don't we just tell them we're going to have a reset here? If you charge us X, we're going to charge you X. And eventually they'll drop those tariffs down to where our businesses are going to prosper because now we have access to the entire European Union to sell cars where we didn't before, or certain agricultural products or liquefied natural gas. All these things before could not be sold there, and now they can. How is that not a win-win for the United States? I think Chuck Schumer is criminally insane. Can I tell you that? I think he's gone off his rocker. I think all this Trump winning and eating raw hamburger has gone to his brain. I don't know what else it could be. And not to hijack Kim on a whim, but play cut number one, where Chuck Schumer claims that none of what happened in the EU really happened. This is all a lie.
On the trade deal, over the weekend, Donald Trump announced a new trade deal with the European Union. It will result in a $90 billion per year tax hike on American families. When you raise tariffs, the American families pay for it. $90 billion tax on American families in this tariff deal with the European Union. Donald Trump is, as usual, trying to hype up, exaggerate, and lie about his accomplishments. Donald Trump always lies, almost always lies about his accomplishments.
Corrects himself.
And this is no exception.
I don't know how a sitting U.S. senator can be that dense and to not realize what's going on here. The markets he just opened up to American businesses this is the biggest business opportunity in 40 years in this country, maybe longer. And he's worried because champagne coming from parts of France will hit a 15% tariff when they come into this country. Unconcerned about the fact that when we would send bourbon from Kentucky to Europe, it would have a 25 or 30% tariff on it just because they didn't want it competing with their Scotch and Irish whiskeys and everything else they had over there. Chuck Schumer didn't care.
The problem is, why weren't these tariffs on our end implemented when these other countries put in place theirs? Because it's like a toddler. If you don't put something in place from the very beginning and then you try to say, well, this is now the standard, this is how we're going to handle this. It's not even just a toddler. Adults, we don't even like that. But if that had been the standard, this is what it is from the get-go, this wouldn't have been an issue. It would have been fair. We would have been having all this revenue that we've been missing out on. I mean, what did they say? $20 billion in revenue this has already generated. Kind of like what I said, I really respect the fact that at least Bill Maher can admit that he was wrong. Then you know what? I'll admit if I'm wrong. If this ends up being disastrous, which I highly doubt it will be. But if it were somehow to be, I would sit there and say, okay, I was wrong. I think that's important to do on both sides.
Chuck Schumer can't have it both ways. He was angry, of course, with the rescission bill. He's angry that they gave tax breaks to waitresses who earn tips, waiters and waitresses who earn tips who no longer have to pay taxes on those tips. All of those costs, Chuck Schumer sees a tax cut as an expense to the government. That's his view of the world. If you're paying less money into the government, that's costing the government something. And Chuck Schumer and liberals can't have that, right? These tariffs offset all of that plus trillions of dollars the other direction. And that's what's driving him crazy. Donald Trump was able to cut taxes and increase revenue, and Chuck Schumer can't have that because that destroys his version of the worldview. Liberals can't stand that. That's not what they want. They want you to pay. They want to increase your taxes on your property and your income. They don't want Donald Trump to cause foreign countries to have to pay that. Why? Who are they working for? It's a good question. Really is. Speaking of which, who's Sam Page work for? Does he work for us? He does, doesn't he? And now the Missouri Attorney General is investigating him. And we're going to get into more of that for you coming up in just a minute.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. We do have some road work out there. It was eastbound 6440 approaching Highway K, and they've been working to pick that up, but we still have a jam that goes, I'm looking at the camera at Wing Haven, and it looks pretty slow there east of Wing Haven, but it is improving. So there's a delay out there. By the time you get to K, things will open up a bit, at least by the time you get to 94, and then things are fine. Eastbound 70 is still in good shape. We're quiet on northbound 55, and we look good on the bridges downtown if you're headed in from Illinois. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by SerbFest 2025. Get ready for an incredible celebration of Serbian culture, food, and traditions. SerbFest is back for 2025 from August 1st through the 3rd. Mark your calendars and join us for an unforgettable time at SerbFest 2025. For more information, go to serbfeststl.com.
Just yesterday, I'm on the golf course, and somebody walks up to me, a good friend of mine. He goes, hey, who's that guy that advertises on your show that fixes foundations? Because my in-laws heard you talking about it, and of course they didn't get the number, but they're interested in calling him. So of course I forwarded the information from my friend Matt Hayes over at Home Shield Foundation Repairs. I talk about him because I know him personally. I've known him for a couple of years now. A great guy, somebody you can trust, runs a small company. He's not the chief salesman for a huge monstrosity that's just trying to, maybe give you work you don't need to increase the bottom line. Matt's going to be honest with you. 314-227-9636 is his phone number. 314-227-9636. And when you go there and call them or go to their website at homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com, you'll see what they do. They waterproof basements. They put in sump pumps. They fix sump pumps. They can put in drain tiles if need be. Whatever it takes to make your basement dry, they're going to do it. And then they're going to give you a lifetime warranty on the repairs. So you have that peace of mind going forward, knowing that you're not going to have to deal with that stuff anymore. And you're dealing directly with the owner, who will be the one who comes to your house. His name is Matt, and tell him Mark sent you. 314-227-9636. 36 or homeshieldfoundationrepairs.com.
A Midwestern mom from Edwardsville, Illinois, rooted in faith, grounded in family. Annie Fry brings common sense and conviction to the conversation. The Annie Fry Show, weekdays at noon on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis conservative.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Cutting through the spin. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis conservative.
This said right on there that the county was paying for it, which of course is a violation of the law.
Sullivan sent his complaint to the Secretary of State's office, and Monday, First Alert 4 Investigates learned the Secretary of State's office referred the case to St. Louis County prosecutors for review. County prosecutor says her office felt it was inappropriate and a conflict of interest for them to handle the case, so a judge reassigned it to the Attorney General's office. Today, a source told First Alert 4 that the AG, along with the Highway Patrol, have sent subpoenas to the county asking for info on how the mailer came to be. The Highway Patrol did interact with government security personnel Monday at the government building, according to county police.
Remember Prop B? That was the one where the county council was trying to get, in St. Louis County, we're trying to get some modicum of control over department heads, because Sam Page appoints department heads, and then of course the council has questions that, let's say it's something with the highway department or accounting or whatever it happens to be. They have a budget question, they have this question and that question. They would ask these department heads to appear before them, and they just could say no. They didn't have to respond to county council at all. So county council put that Prop B on the agenda that would say, if we ask you a question, you have to answer it, right? In other words, we have to have some way to get information from you, because Sam Page is potentially maybe the worst county executive this county has ever had. And he's arrogant, and he kind of sets things off in quadrants, and he keeps his department heads away from county council. They're not accountable to anybody but Sam Page. And that just leads to a Steve Stenger type problem, is what that does. So council puts this on the ballot, and audaciously, which is the best word I can think of for it, the county executive actively campaigns against it using your taxpayer dollars. It seems obvious as the very large nose on my face that that's what happened here. And even when it happened, when this flyer came out in the mail last year, I got it at my address. I was still living in St. Louis County then. It's basically a colorful little flyer, single, double-sided, but a single, postcard size, that got mailed out to everybody in St. Louis County to try to convince them to vote against Prop B, paid for by St. Louis County taxpayers. And what he tried to play it off as was an information effort. He was trying to inform people through his lens as to what Prop B was about. But if you didn't have to go very far in reading it to realize it was just a campaign flyer against Prop B, paid for with taxpayer dollars, it certainly appeared, because that's what it said at the bottom of the page.
So what would be the consequence for this? Because he's trying to sit here and claim, like you said, that, this was just informational for the voters, but
misuse of taxpayer money.
But is it a fine? What does that amount to? A slap on the wrist?
I don't know. Maybe we need to get the AG on here and ask him.
I wondered about that.
But the worst news for him is that he wanted to also appoint the county prosecutor, which didn't happen, thank goodness. And they put Melissa Price Smith in there. Is that her name?
Yeah.
And they stepped forward and said, we think this is a conflict of interest. Our office shouldn't handle this. Then it got passed off to the Highway Patrol and the Attorney General, which is good. So the attorney general's coming in and asking serious questions. Here's what we know. The county used taxpayer money to send out the mailer. And Page previously defended it as an allowable public education. So far, he has declined to respond to multiple requests for comment as of yesterday. This is according to Channel 4, who did that story.
This would be like
yesterday.
Us sending out a pro-life mailer and with taxpayer money and saying, well, it's to inform the people, which people should be informed about what they're voting for because they were misled by the language on the ballot for Amendment 3. But that would never stand up in court of us our side trying to claim this is just informational and therefore we can use taxpayer money for it.
I still don't understand how Prop B failed. I just don't get it. I don't know why you wouldn't want your duly elected county council people who are there as a counterbalance to the county executive to have the authority on a supermajority vote to fire department heads who aren't getting the job done, so that the county executive can't install somebody who's incompetent and who just stays in the office because the county council has no control over it whatsoever. And it's just, they serve at the whim of the county executive. It's a ridiculous power. And I don't know why there was a lot of deceptive advertising, including from Sam Page. Now, maybe Attorney General Andrew Bailey will be able to have some retribution for the taxpayer for all of that. All right. Coming up, we're going to talk to Brendan Steinhauser on how the key GOP members may bring a new big, beautiful bill. Stay tuned.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, healthcare, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, the 9 critical decisions when retiring before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
When disaster strikes, the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis is there. Tornadoes have left families displaced and communities in crisis, but you can help. The Urban League Tornado Disaster Relief Humanitarian Fund provides emergency shelter, food, clothing, and critical support to those affected. Your donation brings hope when it's needed most. Visit ulstl.com to donate. That's ulstl.com. Stand with us. Stand for St. Louis.
Do you know someone that deserves a new heating or cooling system at no cost? Lennox invites you to nominate a local hero in your community for Feel the Love and recognize someone who always gives back to others and just needs a little help to get their home comfort where it needs to be. To nominate a member of your community who serves others and deserves the recognition, visit www.feelthelove.com. Nominations will be accepted through August 31st. That's www.feelthelove.com.
Hi, this is Steve Butts with the Crawford Butts Insurance Agency. I know we're all experiencing sticker shock when you get your insurance premium. Now more than ever, you need an independent insurance agent to find the best value for your family's insurance needs. Crawford Butts, family owned and operated for more than 60 years. Please give us a call at 314-752-2500 or at crawfordbutts.com.
Renewal by Andersen is the #1 window and door brand for customer service. Schedule your free inspection today. Just dial pound 250 on your phone and say the keyword windows. That's pound 250 keyword windows, or head to rbastl.com.
Tony La Russa here. Men, are you running out of stamina rounding third base? If so, call my friends at Victory Men's Health in O'Fallon, Illinois. Scoring at home is important, just as important as crossing the plate with the winning run. VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
drove cross country. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The man who shot up an office building in Midtown Manhattan, New York City, killing 4. Fox's Alexis McAdams is outside the building where it happened.
This gunman, armed with an AR-15, literally pulls up here right near Park Avenue, jumps out of his BMW, walks up those steps behind me, and enters the lobby. That's when they say he pulled out that weapon, shot and killed an NYPD officer, and shot 3 other people, then went upstairs and opened fire as well.
He shot and killed another person on the 33rd floor, where that gunman then shot himself in the chest and died.
27-year-old Shane Tamura. Investigators say drove for days, came all the way from Nevada. He lived near the Las Vegas area, shows up here in New York City with a plan.
He reportedly left behind a suicide note and had a history of mental illness. One of those shot in the lobby survived, an employee of the NFL, which has offices in the building. There was also a shooting outside a casino in Reno, Nevada. A man opened fire in the valet parking area.
In total, 6 victims were shot. 3 of them are now deceased.
Sparks Police Chief Chris Crawford. The gunman was shot by police and is in critical condition. They don't know his motive. President Trump's out playing golf in Scotland at the new Trump course he just opened in Aberdeen. Then the president said he'll end his 5-day trip and fly back to Washington to deal with different world conflicts.
That's much more important than playing golf. As much as I like it, it's much more important.
Now, one of the conflicts is in Ukraine, where new Russian attacks killed at least 22 people the day after the president shortened the deadline for Russia to agree to a ceasefire to 10 to 12 days, or else the U.S. will impose new economic sanctions.
Former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev is warning against ultimatums, saying the president should remember 2 things. He says Russia isn't Israel or even Iran. Each new ultimatum is a threat and a step towards war, not between Russia and Ukraine, but with his own country. Don't go down the Sleepy Joe road, appearing to refer to former President Joe Biden.
That's Fox's Madeline Rivera. America's listening to Fox News.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/today. Ethos.com/today.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Serving in the military requires great sacrifices, not just for one's country, but also for one's family. Not surprisingly, divorce for soldiers is especially difficult, and it raises a number of challenges that are peculiar to military divorce, things such as deployments, relocation, retirement benefits. So if you're a soldier facing such challenges, go to CordellCordell.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis.
Good morning on this Tuesday. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk. 6:03 right now, 83 degrees. St. Louis County is under investigation by the Missouri Attorney General. The investigation is tied to a mailer that had been sent out earlier this year opposing Prop B, which you might remember would have given the county council the power to fire department heads. Taxpayer money was used to pay for those mailers. That is the issue. Sam Page claims it was just informational for the voters. A new law signed by the governor in Illinois will force gun owners to keep their guns locked up if there's a child 18 years or younger in the home. The previous age was 13. Proponents of this bill say this will prevent accidental shootings. Pritzker also signed a bill that will require law enforcement to report information about guns recovered in a crime to the ATF's e-trace system. Voters in Creve Coeur will get to decide in November whether the city should collect a use tax for out-of-state online purchases. If it's passed, it would tax online purchases at 1.25%. Creve Coeur's mayor believes this use tax would bring in between $626,000 and $1.2 million in revenue. In sports, Cardinals beat the Marlins 7-1 last night. Game 2 Busch Stadium tonight, 6:45. 6:04 and 83 degrees. I'm Kim St. for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. It looks like crews have picked up the road work out on eastbound 64, approaching Highway K. Then we had a stall westbound, but they got that cleared. So traffic at this hour is light. I will mention that at 8 o'clock this morning, crews will close the center turn lane and one right lane on Bowles over 44. That will be 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. while they get out there and get some road work done. This report is brought to you by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
In the 70s, baseball player Jerry Kelly decided to do something different.
Thanks for calling, Jerry Kelly, Heating and Air Conditioning.
This year, the company Jerry started decided we'd do something different.
Thanks for calling Jerry Kelly Heating, Air and Electrical.
And electrical.
JerryKelly.com.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
This should be the hottest day of this long-lasting heat wave. There is still hope on the horizon, but not until Thursday. Partly sunny, hot and humid today. Hottest of this heat wave, 99, 100 degrees. Tonight, warm and humid, 79. Wednesday, partly sunny, still hot and humid, but there will be a couple of thunderstorms around 94. Thursday, partly sunny, a couple of showers and storms around 84. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
6:06 is our time right now, already 83 degrees. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading the free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
We don't need more gun control. We need more idiot control.
Amen. Senator John Kennedy yesterday saying exactly what we were all thinking, and that is in connection with this shooting in New York City, that immediately today they will, maybe Mayor Eric Adams, maybe certainly the left-wing liberal politicians from New York will all run to a TV camera and call for more gun control. Welcome into the Marc Cox Morning Show. I'm Mark. That's Kim St. Onge. That's Ethan Bright sitting over there running the board for us. And, of course, you'll get Sue Thomas in here with your traffic in just a few minutes. That's really the big story around the country this morning is this tragic shooting in New York. Clearly a mental health crisis situation here. We're finding out a few more details this morning about the shooter who claims he had CTE, the brain problem that results from too many concussions, and apparently he was angry with the National Football League, which he felt had intentionally worked to slow progress toward fixing this disease or investigating it, or what's not a disease. It's an impact from a sport, he claims. And finally, he just took this into his own hands. He drove from, he lived in Las Vegas. He drove all the way across the country to try to commit this crime. There are reports this morning that he was some sort of a high school football standout in the LA area. And that there are others reporting this morning that he played some football in Canada, but I don't have any confirmation of that outside of one report. But he might have played some form of professional football. I don't know what that had to do with the NFL, but he clearly felt like he had a not a manifesto, but he had a note on him when he was found dead. Self-inflicted gunshot wound, from what we can tell.
Went up to the 32nd. So he killed people in the lobby. Then somehow he was able to get up to the 33rd floor or 32nd floor, kill one more person before killing himself.
Yeah, and I don't know what the real estate management firm Rudin Management was on the 33rd floor. That's where he was found. That's not the floor apparently where the NFL offices are. So why he randomly chose the 33rd floor is not clear as well, if indeed he did go there to carry out some sort of retribution against the NFL.
Unless he just got confused.
Well, it sounds like he wasn't dealing with a full deck to begin with. And they said that there's evidence that he had a diagnosed mental health issue, which just leads to a whole bunch of questions about how he got the gun. When was he diagnosed? How long ago did he pass and get a concealed carry permit out in Las Vegas? Because he had one of those. There's a whole bunch of things. It all gets back to mental health, doesn't it? I mean, People get mad at me and say you're giving people with mental health issues a stigma. I'm like, no, I'm talking specifically about mental health and gun rights and your ability to buy guns and how that gets put into the system and who's considered at risk for those sorts of things. Who dropped the ball in this case, I think, is a fair question. Fortunately, it is a 2A Tuesday, and we're going to have our friend Mark Walters on from Armed American Radio's Daily Defense at about 7:35. So we will kick that around with him and see if he's got any thoughts on it. Maybe we'll know more about the guy by then because stories continue to break this morning with more information on who this 27-year-old shooter was who lived in Las Vegas. So he at some point had been a private investigator out there, it says here, but that's all we know about him. All right, we got lots to get to here. We're going to talk more about another big, beautiful bill that may be in the works in Washington, D.C. Now, the House is in recess right now, so they're not going to, if they were working on it, it's not anything that they would get completed in August for sure. Maybe September, October. They got budget stuff to deal with. We're going to check in on that in the next segment here. We got John Lamping at the bottom of the hour talking about IP reform. Oddly enough, Kim, guess who was on the golf course with me yesterday?
Mr. John Lamping?
No, not John Lamping. I'll have to ask him why he wasn't out there. Probably because he was smart and he was in air conditioning somewhere because it was hot. But I got to golf yesterday at this fundraiser in St. Charles County for the St. Charles County GOP PAC, and they're fundraising for Senator Adam Schnelting. And I was on a foursome, including former Senator Bill Eigel, and we noticed on one of the golf carts a very familiar name, and we didn't know if he was actually there or not, which it struck me as odd, and that was former Senator Caleb Rowden.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure you would have had some interesting comments from
Well,
him.
speaking of, I never got to physically see him. He was on a different foursome, but he was on the course because at one point he spotted Eigel and he yelled something at him. And I'm like, is that, he goes, yeah, that's Rowden. He's here. He's over there. He's a pretty good golfer apparently. And now he's become a lobbyist. So he's now out spreading money around. And had I had a chance to shake hands with him, I would have said, welcome back. Are you a Republican again? Because you're here raising money for Republicans.
Senator Adam Schnelting. That's what I'm wondering. Lobbying for what?
Lobbying for one of the more conservative senators in Jeff City.
Well, for that particular event, but for
donating.
other things, what is he doing? What is he lobbying for?
I have no idea. I think he's working for Steve Tilley, but I could be wrong about that. But yeah, he was on the golf course. So we'll talk to our friend John Lamping at the bottom of the hour because he wants to talk about IP reform, which of course Caleb Rowden almost single-handedly killed last year, not this most recent legislative session, but the one before that. When we could have had it, when it might have stopped Amendment 3, Rowden killed it. So that's why I bring his name up with such disdain there. We'll get to all that and more for you coming up right now. Let's get to our top stories.
The Marc Cox Short List.
At this time, we have victims and suspects identified, and we have charged 5 people in this offense.
There you have it. The police chief in Cincinnati, the Queen City, where after a jazz festival on Saturday night, apparently, a large group of people, mostly African-American from the video, jumped about 3 or 4 elderly white people and beat the living hell out of them in downtown Cincinnati. And they claim that they've now arrested 5 people in connection with that crime.
We thought we had that settled numerous times. And then President Putin goes out and starts launching rockets into some city. Very disappointed in him. So we're going to have to look, and I'm going to reduce that 50 days that I gave him to a lesser number because I think I already know the answer what's going to happen.
Yeah, what happens next there, that's President Trump saying we're going to go from 50 days to about 10 or 12, And if we don't have this worked out, there's going to be some dramatic action taken. We'll see what that is.
There is no starvation in Gaza. We enable humanitarian throughout the duration of the war to enter Gaza. Otherwise, there would be no Gaza.
Yep. Benjamin Netanyahu, the president, has taken some issue with his comments there, saying there is no starvation going on in Gaza. We let plenty of aid in. Hamas redirects it for their own use.
Well, I think it is a win for the administration. In terms of our clients and what we're dealing with, they wanted to see some clarity, and we're starting to see an end game emerge, even though we're not to the end yet. In terms of what will tariffs be, how do we deal with our supply chains, how do we adjust to this new environment?
Yeah, let me translate for you. That's the chief analyst for KPMG. Tariffs are working. We weren't sure. Now we see the end game. Hey, guess what, lady? I don't know how much money you make. I'm sure it's 15 times the average American. But many of us who believe in making America great again and reinstituting policies in the best interest of this country saw this coming back in April. Because when Donald Trump instituted these tariffs, the markets dropped and everybody panicked. This is going to be awful and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, don't panic. Don't be a panicking. He's leveraging the 900-pound gorilla in the room is leveraging the system to benefit the American people. All these countries want to trade with the U.S. They don't want to not trade with the U.S. They've also come to the realization all of a sudden that Donald Trump is serious and they're not going to be able to take advantage of us anymore. And he's leveling the playing field, and it's working just as we all suspected it would work. But at KPMG, they're like, now we can see the end game. Boy, glad you're not my chief analyst. Can I just tell you that? All right, coming up, we'll talk about the next version, potentially, of a big, beautiful bill that's being kicked around in Washington, D.C. We're back here in just a minute.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Pretty quiet out there on the roads at this hour. If you're just headed out, it does look like summer traffic, at least right now. Quiet through North County, looking good on eastbound 70, 64, 40, and 44 from out west into downtown. Come 8:30 tonight on 170, they're going to close a lane southbound from Scudder to Natural Bridge, and they're going to have one lane in the ramp under the eastbound 70 overpass closed. That will be 8:30 tonight until 5:30 a.m. tomorrow. This report brought to you by The Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Don't miss this opportunity if you have always wanted a suppressor for your handgun or your rifle. The big, beautiful bill, the first one, now we're talking about a second one. The first one removed that $200 tax penalty that you had to pay to the federal government for the right to even buy a suppressor. It's ridiculous, but the fee is not going to be removed even under this new law till January. So in the meantime, the range says, hey, you know what? Here's what we're going to do for listeners to the Marc Cox Morning Show. You register for this sweepstakes. The winner will get $300 toward the cost of a new suppressor, and the range will pick up the $200 fee for the tax stamp. So the winner of this is going to get $500 toward the cost of a suppressor for your handgun or your rifle. You can go in and pick it out. They've got suppressors in there. I looked at one for a 22 rifle for $150. So, I mean, you can pay whatever you want for them. They've got a huge range, a huge selection, but you got to go to this address in order to register. That is therangestl.com/971. It's only for my listeners. So therangestl.com/971. You got to add that 971 onto the end of it to get to the page where you can register. It just won't show up on their regular website. They're going to pick a winner August 15th. And I love that they're doing this for my listeners here on the Marc Cox Morning Show. Tell your friends. Tell them to listen to the show, but tell them to go to the range, 14803 Manchester Road out in Baldwin. Great folks, a veteran-owned, family-owned store, and you're going to feel like you're a friend after you've been there once. You're going to love it. TheRangeSTL.com/971. 971. Register today.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is, who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence, Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Ruler Foods is celebrating a 4 for $5 frenzy. Now through August 5th at Ruler Foods, the savings are sizzling. Grab Jose Olay chicken and cheese chimichangas, Kroger pecan roll-ups, Bluebonnet veggie oil spread, and Knorr Alfredo pasta sides, just 4 for $5. And that's not all. Stock up on pantry picks like Kroger red enchilada sauce, Kroger deluxe shells and cheddar, Kroger 90% fat-free chicken broth, and more. Hurry into Ruler Foods where your dollar rules. That 4 for $5 frenzy going on now. RulerFoods.com. While you start to think spring, that might mean a move is in your future. But the question is, when is the right time to buy? Well, I go to my friend Stewie at Stewart's American Mortgage to ask that question. Stewie, how do buyers beat the competition when they're looking to buy a new home?
All right, Annie, we're going to give you 3 big bullets. Number 1, get the bagel loan. No closing costs. If you don't have to pay those closing costs, add it to the bid. You'll beat all the other offers. Number 2, tell the seller you're going to close in 10 days. 10 days, most lenders take 30 days just to get the loan approved. He's going to take your offer over everybody else's right away. Number 3, we give you the power of the pre-approval in your hands. You can access our portal anytime you want and generate your own pre-approval letter. Don't wait for the lender. You can make it happen yourself.
Well, the smart move starts by calling or texting my friend Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. He just gave you those 3 tips to smart buying to beat the competition. Google the bagel loan for more information. NMLS number 226715.
No fluff, no filters, just facts. Marc Cox, Kim St. Ange, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Well, are you tired of the winning yet? I mean, honestly, the big, beautiful bill got passed as the president wanted by July 4th. There's been a lot of belly aching about what was in it. And, people actually mad about somebody not getting taxed on tips or Social Security. I don't understand it. It obviously got done. It got done just as the president wanted. But did it go far enough? There's obviously more they would like to do. And given the fact that potentially they only have a majority in both houses through the November 26 elections, is there an opportunity for something else? I don't know. We'll see. Brendan Steinhauser is with us this morning. He's a political analyst. He is with the Alliance for Secure AI. He's the CEO of that. And we appreciate your time this morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, guys. Good morning.
Yeah. What do you think about another big, beautiful bill? Who's talking about this?
Yeah, well, the House Republican Study Committee they have a working group on this, and that's a group of about, I think, 130 or 140 lawmakers in the House, and they're kind of a think tank for House Republicans. And I've attended a lot of their meetings over the years, and it's led by a congressman from Texas, Austin Pfluger, and they're basically looking at how do we capitalize on the win that we had previously, the one big beautiful bill that the president signed into law on July 4th. What are some ways we can kind of up the ante and take it to the next level? So I expect there's going to be some ideas to come out of this conversation, and I look forward to seeing what they come up with.
Yeah, like what though? I mean, what else would it carry forward? That last one was pretty significant.
It was. The first bill had a lot of good reforms in there on things like Medicaid spending, on student loans. It reversed a lot of the Biden, Green New Deal type things, and so I expect this version to focus again on some of those reforms, but also on making some of the tax relief permanent. So we talked about no taxes on overtime and tips. I would expect them to try and make that permanent in this next iteration of the bill, or this new bill, I should say. And also to double down on border security. Look, the American people elected Donald Trump and Republicans to secure the border. He did so with lightning speed. It was almost overnight. It was pretty, talk about winning. It was one of the biggest wins I've ever seen in public policy, ever. And so I think they'll continue to look at how do we fill those gaps? How do we make sure that the ICE has what they need? How do we make sure Border Patrol is fully funded to do their job? And then probably some other budget items as well. I know we have to get spending under control. We have to have some more regulatory reform. And so I think it'll be a continuation of a lot of those policies.
It seems like that was a holdup for some of these members of Congress, was the spending. They're sitting here, and obviously they had the rescissions bill, but they were saying, why are we still adding to the deficit? So you're saying you think that this bill would focus on that potentially?
I certainly hope so. I'm a little biased on that. I think we definitely need to get our spending under control. It's hard to do. It's been a bipartisan problem, but I think the Republican Study Committee has a long history of trying to tackle that and figure out how do we actually balance the budget, even if it takes 7 or 8 or 9 years. How do we get us on that track? Obviously, another debate that we had, and actually your Senator Josh Hawley was a leader on this. He was fighting to preserve the ability for states to legislate on AI policy. We know that AI is going to be a big boom to the economy. There's also some potential downsides. And so I know he was holding out to make sure there were protections for people on that. But I think with the president's plan on that topic and a bunch of other things that he's talked about in the last few weeks, even, there's a lot of opportunity to move policy forward, move his agenda forward as well.
Yeah, and where do you guys stand on that, Brendan, just out of interest on the AI thing, because that's what your firm does, right?
Yeah, it's an organization, the Alliance for Secure AI, that we started a couple of months ago, and we're with Senator Hawley on this. I think he's been a big leader to allow states to have the ability to protect citizens from potential harms. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of, massive job losses are coming. There's an article in the Wall Street Journal this morning about that, again, with, recent college graduates struggling to find jobs. So we need to make sure that we do this thoughtfully and smartly. And so he's been a big leader on that. And we're looking forward to working with him and others to make sure that we get this right, because the president's right. We have to lead on AI. We have to reap all of the benefits and making sure we mitigate any risks.
I heard a great conversation on this yesterday. It might have been on the Brian Kilmeade show. I'm trying to remember, but they were talking about speaking of jobs, how many jobs are likely to be affected by AI, and by affected, I mean in some cases maybe eliminated.
Yeah, there's been a lot of reporting on this recently, and that is a big concern for ours. There's a number of CEOs that have come out and said they expect as many as half of white-collar entry-level jobs to disappear in the next 5 or 6 years because it's all going to be done by AI agents. And so we have to have a plan for that. That is something that, I don't necessarily want to see that happen, but I think we need to be prepared for that and have some policies in place. But again, I think Senator Hawley and others are looking at this saying, whoa, we have to make sure we don't just replace workers without making sure that they are taken care of, making sure that there's, that they benefit from AI. This is not something we want to happen where, big tech concentrates all the wealth and power in their hands and the American people suffer for it.
Yeah, very true. All right. Brendan Steinhauser, thanks for your time this morning.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's going to be an ongoing debate as we head forward. There's no doubt about that as they put up guardrails for this thing. I just, every time it gets mentioned, I think Skynet. I'm sorry. That's just kind of where my mind goes. When does this thing start to try to take over? And I don't think that's an exaggeration. Coming up, we're going to talk to former Senator John Lamping. We will talk to him about my golfing buddy, Caleb Rowden, yesterday, and IP reform when we come back.
Baby's gone. Cardinals fans, FanDuel Sports Network is your home of the Cardinals. That ball was mashed. And there are more ways to watch this season. Holy cow! Subscribe directly to FanDuel Sports Network to stream the Cardinals without blackouts. How about that play? Or watch through a TV provider. Incredible! Including DirecTV, Spectrum, Xfinity, Fubo, and more. He got it! Learn more at cardinals.com/TV.
Ball game! That couldn't have worked out any better for the Cardinals.
We, without hesitation, recommend that anybody work with ThrottleNet. The experience will be as good as it's been for us, for anybody, because you'll get a true partnership and you'll be able to rest easy that you're going to get the service that you need while they're also doing all those things that you don't want to have to think about, that you don't want to have to worry about. They're always doing that in the background for you.
Don't wait for your next IT crisis. If your business depends on technology, you need a partner that's got your back. Contact ThrottleNet.com to get a free IT evaluation and see how we can support your IT everything.
All right, you have a great opportunity coming up here next week. That would be August 5th out at the Frontenac Hilton at about 6:30. Our friends Bob and Tammy Kershaw will get together with you out there from the Retirement Advisory Group. It's free, folks. They're going to give you soda, water, some cookies. You can just relax and hang out, and it's always a great time. And, of course, Annie Fry is going to be out there, I know, and I'll be making an appearance. And you just have an opportunity to mingle. And at about 6:30, they get started. They're going to take about 45 minutes of your time. They're going to explain some of the pitfalls of retirement that people maybe aren't prepared for and how you can avoid those. They've been helping people for 38 years do this, and they've never lost a penny of their clients' money in the stock market. You can ask them how. Show up August 5th, Frontenac Hilton. Call 314-993-9494 or register online at retirementkey.com.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 6:30 right now, 83 degrees. A judge will decide the fate of dozens of St. Louis firefighters who say they were blocked from receiving a promotion. The fire chief says City Hall had stopped promotions a few years ago when Tashara Jones was mayor. Those promotions were based on a test that had been given to the firefighters that's since been changed because of questions about its fairness. Missouri's annual tax-free weekend starts in just a few days. It will run from 12:01 a.m. Friday until midnight Sunday. The back-to-school holiday allows shoppers to buy items like school supplies, computers, and clothes without paying local or state taxes. Heads up for those of you in Illinois. Illinois does not have a tax-free weekend this year. In sports, Cardinals beat the Marlins 7-1 last night. Game 2 at Busch Stadium starts at 6:45. 6:31 and 83 degrees. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We look pretty good on the roads. There is some volume on northbound 55, just a little bit slower by the Carondelet, Loughborough area in that tricky part of the construction zone. But other than that, we look good. And that's North County through South County and on the Illinois side as well. So looking good if you are headed out at this hour. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
There's just always things that come up around your home. Things you want to do, improvements you want to make, and especially with the interest rates now and not wanting to move, a lot of people would rather just make some updates to their home. And that's why you need to call my friends over there at Lakeside Renovation and Design. You just want to go ahead and save their number in your phone right now, 636-978-5000. Again, that's the number for Lakeside Renovation and Design, because really any sort of renovation that you're thinking about doing at your home, whether it's inside or outside, Lakeside can help you. This is a family-owned company. Two brothers run it. Their daughter works with them. It's great family, supporters of the show. Been doing this here in the St. Louis area for close to 30 years. In fact, they have a showroom in Chesterfield that I've been to. And it's cool because you can go see some of these awesome designs they do. Like, for example, kitchens. They have a whole setup where you can see the latest trends. And one of their in-house designers will work with you. They'll answer all your questions on what trends they're seeing and what would go well with this, because those decisions can get really overwhelming. If you want to say finish your basement so you have more livable space to host your family and friends, add a deck onto your home, maybe create this spa-like bathroom. Anything you're wanting to do, even if it's siding or windows or a new door, they can help you. Lakeside Renovation and Design, they hire only people who work for their company, meaning they're not outsourcing to a third party. You're not having to hound people and you call the company and they say, oh, well, I'm sorry. You end up getting the runaround. You're not going to deal with that when you partner with Lakeside Renovation and Design. Plus, they back up their work with a lifetime workmanship warranty. Again, that number to save in your phone for Lakeside Renovation and Design, it is 636-978-5000, or you can check them out online at lakesiderd.com.
The Cards, the Marlins.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Hey, is your Generac home standby generator ready for the next outage? Are you overdue for annual maintenance? Schedule an inspection today with Generator Supercenter and ensure your Generac generator is ready when you need it most. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install a Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. If you've been injured in a car accident, call America's largest injury law firm. For over 35 years, my mission has been to deliver more for our clients, to deliver more for you. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
If you're considering an annuity as part of your retirement plan, we need to talk. Hi, I'm Bob Stockdale, Senior Vice President Investments with the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel and host of On the Money Saturday mornings at 11 on 97.1 FM Talk. Annuities can be a useful tool for some retirement investors, but not all annuities are created equal. Every week, we meet clients who own complex annuities that don't suit their needs and, in some cases, actively undermine their retirement plan. Before you purchase an annuity, get a second opinion from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. Requesting a consultation is free of charge. To request a free consultation, contact us at clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call us at 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com or 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member NYSE and SIPC.
97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. People keep looking to government for the answer, and government's the problem. Government would shut the doors and sneak away for about 3 weeks. We'd never miss them.
Stop thinking about what I want, what he wants, what your parents want. What do you want?
All right, we've got former Missouri Senator John Lamping on here. John, last week we forgot to play your new open. I apologize for that. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Yeah, can't get enough of that opening. So I can't believe you were playing golf yesterday, Mark. I mean, it's too hot to play golf right now.
Where were you, John? It was the St. Charles GOP fundraiser. I thought you'd be out there. I'm sorry. It was too hot for you.
Way too hot for me.
Anyway, I was joking about this earlier. I'm on the tee box and I'm playing with Bill Eigel. Is on my foursome, and I hear somebody yelling at Bill, and he looks over on the other tee box that's across the way there, and there's Caleb Rowden out there who's now apparently a lobbyist sending some money back to the St. Charles County GOP. How about that?
Yeah, I don't think Caleb took a day off from when he left the Senate before he started lobbying. Unfortunately, and I'm sure he's quite effective at it. And the lobbyists will spend money on both sides of every issue. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I bring that up because one thing we want to talk about with you this morning is IP reform. I pretty much single-handedly lay that on his shoulders. The fact that it failed 2 years ago and we didn't have the ability to raise the threshold for Amendment 3. Maybe it wouldn't have passed if we'd just gotten some action on IP reform session before last.
Yeah, it certainly he was responsible, I think, greatly for it, IP reform having not gone forward during his last session. But it really is a byproduct of the system itself. The way initiative petitions worked, as you know, today, it only takes a 50% threshold to pass. And so therefore, a lot of bad ideas, along with good ideas, but a lot of bad ideas try to get implemented in Missouri because the threshold's so low. And so a lot of money is spent on trying to pass something. At the same time, though, a lot of money gets spent trying to fend something off. And so the same lobbyists that get paid to lobby issues on the Capitol, very often the same group of people are working on these initiative petitions. And the initiative petition, the money spent actually has the highest margin to the political consultants. So it's always kind of a fixed game. The political consultants do not want to see this threshold change. They make so much money either trying to get an initiative petition to pass or defending against an initiative petition that they have the capacity. It's really a priority for the lobbying community not to have that pass. And so that's why we are where we are, which is we're really boxed in now. I'm actually been reading more and more about groups that are forming that they're trying to not only defend against initiative petition reform, but they're actually trying to go after propositions and create a much higher threshold to reverse a proposition. So proposition, as you know, is when you make a law by ballot initiative, but the proposition is not a constitutional change, so the legislature can change it. So we're really in a bad spot right now as far as we're not meant to be making law by direct vote of the people in simple majorities. Being a constitutional republic, we're way away from that.
Oh yeah, I agree.
I know, John, we've talked a lot about IP reform with you over the last number of months, but we've also talked about what's going on as it relates to energy bills and the fact that they're going to go up and some of these decisions that were made and how that will impact all of us here in Missouri. And you posted something very interesting on X that talked about how your August bill, your Ameren bill, went up. Was it at least 100% this month compared to last month? And Shannon Robinson said that her bill went up 111% last month compared to this month.
Yeah, so speaking of lobbying, the largest lobbying group in Jefferson City is Ameren, our utility company. And as I've long discussed with the two of you during this last session, the worst thing that happened was we changed the rules and the laws by which Ameren gets to charge us for work construction that's in progress. Well, that hasn't even taken effect yet. And on June 1st, Ameren, the Public Service Commission approved what we were told would be a 12% increase in our utility rates. And they when they say it's a 12% increase, they say the average person would be $10 a month or some really small number.
Right.
Well, I'd ask your listeners to go look at their bills the last 3 months, and what they'll find is because as myself and 4 other properties in my family, and every single bill month over month is up at least 100%. I know Shannon did the same thing with her friends, and it was between 100 and 200%. Now I get it, like, okay, it's summer, we got to put air conditioning on, and we use, but there's a way you can look at usage. Usage is up a lot less than that. You know what they've done, Mark and Kim, is that they've introduced this concept of kind of surge pricing. And what that means is that if you demand electricity the same time everybody else does, you get paid, you get charged a higher rate. And what's sneaky about that is that corporate America, which runs 24/7, especially manufacturing, what they can do is they can run certain systems, and their demand for electricity can be much lower after 10 o'clock at night and before 6 o'clock in the morning, and they pay a much, much, much lower rate. So it's pretty outrageous. It's a classic example of who's looking out for who down in Jefferson City. And I'll remind everybody that this Senate is told by Ameren to expect, the average person will expect to pay about $1,000 more a year as a result of that bill. And we'll see, because if you check your bills, I guarantee you almost everyone listening will see almost 100% increase. I actually bought, we bought an apartment in Chesterfield. We haven't even lived in it, haven't even used it, and the bill went up 100% month over month.
Wow.
That's stunning. It's going to start being noticed. I mean, people that haven't looked yet or haven't compared the two for some reason, maybe they've excused it away because the temperature went up so much, right? That it's 100 degrees outside. They think that's why the bill went up.
Yeah, and like you can follow along with usage, so you know your usage has gone up because of the heat, and that, if usage is up 20%, well, yeah, but what it really is, it's this idea of this surge pricing that this is a law that was enacted through the legislature with the largest lobbying corps in Jeff City, the Ameren Lobbying Corps, and the net result is that $100 bill from last month is a $200 bill this month. So good luck with that.
Yeah, I mean, Shannon was saying that her usage went up 33%, but yet her bill went up 111%. And you would think, oh, maybe that's over a year, 5 years. I get it. Costs are going up, that kind of thing. But no, this is quite literally just from 1 month to the next. That's what's insane about it. And a lot of people probably won't catch this because, like you were just saying, Mark, they'll justify it by saying, well, it's really hot and humid. My HVAC's working a lot harder to keep our house cool.
Oh, yeah.
So
I think that's
it's death by 1,000 cuts.
Yep. Very true. I tell you what, John, thank you so much for your time this morning, my friend. Stay cool out there. Okay?
Great being with you both. Take care.
All right. See you. John Lamping there, former Missouri Senator. Yeah, this Ameren thing is, whoo,
that's
man, those utility bills are going through the roof. Just check yours if you think we're wrong. And we tried to warn you about it when it was still in the legislature. This is a bad idea. John was on here talking about it. It got passed and the governor signed it. So now you're stuck with it. There's really no going back on it. Ameren can now charge you up front for future construction costs that haven't even started yet. And you're kind of stuck with that. Now, just think how much more it might have been if we were forced to shut down all these coal-burning power plants under a Biden administration plan and go to all green energy. For goodness sake, what a disaster that would have been, as they've seen in Texas and so many of these other places. All right, coming up, we're going to get to in other news. Next hour, Todd Piro, host of Fox and Friends First. We'll talk to him about that tragic shooting up in New York, since he works up there in downtown New York. And we're going to get to Mark Walters for 2A Tuesday as well. We'll be back in just a minute.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is not a bad commute this morning if you're just headed out. But as soon as I say that, stuff comes up. So here's what we've got. Accident just coming in, southbound 170, a little bit past Olive. All right, they're saying that the two right lanes are blocked. So if you are traveling in that area and starting to see a slowdown, that's what it is. Oh, yep, I just pulled it up. I mean, you could almost see the humidity. It's that gross out there. But yes, the right lanes are blocked, and they've got more emergency crews headed for the scene. So again, that is southbound 170, a little bit past Olive. Other than that, it's been quiet. There's been some moderate volume northbound 270 at Doherty Ferry and 55 headed for Bayless in the construction zone. But other than that, we're good. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Brought to you by SerbFest 2025. Get ready for an incredible celebration of Serbian culture, food, and traditions. SerbFest is back for 2025 from August 1st through the 3rd. Mark your calendars and join us for an unforgettable time at SerbFest 2025. For more information, go to serbfeststl.com.
All right, can't brag enough about my friends at Victory Men's Health. I am a client. In fact, I just had to reschedule an appointment. I was supposed to go yesterday, but I had to go golf. So I'm going to go again in a couple of weeks. But they do a blood draw. I'm scheduled for a regular blood draw. These things can be life-saving because they could early detection of PSA numbers or whatever. They check all the things you're normally going to get, plus extra ones that your GP may not be checking for, because they're doing this for everyone. They concentrate on men at Victory Men's Health, right? Dr. Yablonsky is the chief medical director over there. He's a medical doctor with 30 years experience in men's health. They are looking for things that affect your life, right? Maybe low testosterone, they can optimize that. Maybe vitamin deficiencies, they can fix that with supplements. Weight loss, you need help with weight loss, they have great ideas. Sexual health, they can take care of problems that you've been putting off or you're too embarrassed to talk about. Don't suffer in silence. Talk to my friends at Victory Men's Health. They've got 4 easy locations, so you really don't have an excuse. If you're in the Metro East, they're right there in O'Fallon, Illinois. If you're on the Missouri side, they got 3 locations. They're in Town and Country, Clayton 141. They're in O'Fallon out near Wing Haven, and they're also, their newest office is down in Sunset Hills near Lindbergh and Watson. I've been to all the offices. You're going to love working with the staff at Victory Men's Health. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. Go online to victorymenshealth.com.
This summer, while you stay cool, our first responders stay on the front lines. The St. Louis First Responder Canteen is there to keep them hydrated and supported. Find out how you can help by visiting 971talk.com/talkinaction.
The number one fear of adults in retirement remains, will I outlive my money? The team at Ricken Financial want to help calm those fears with a complimentary income plan. This includes a deep dive into your retirement strategy to see what's working and where adjustments can be made. Call today for an initial no-cost income plan. 314-207-6211. That's 314-207-6211 or online at rickenfinancial.com. Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Accidents can happen in the blink of an eye, especially in a busy city like St. Louis. Whether you're a rideshare driver or passenger, injuries can leave you feeling lost, confused, and unsure of where to turn. At Kaufman Townsley, we understand. We're from here. We live in St. Louis, and we know what it takes to fight for the rights of our neighbors. We're here to help you through the difficult time with the experience and care you deserve. Kaufman Townsley, real people, real results. Call 314-500-5000. That's 314-500-5000.
Viking, dedicated to creating travel experiences for the thinking person, with programs designed for cultural enrichment on board and on shore. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com. Viking.com.
From the gateway city to the front lines of freedom, this is the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
What's happening?
Go, you know the thing.
What the hell is going on?
In other news.
Okay, does everybody know who Sydney Sweeney is?
Yes.
You know who it is. You know who it is, Ethan?
No, I don't know. I don't think she really
Thank
deserves
you.
that.
Thank you.
Let's not get carried away.
So listen to this Blue Jean commercial she's in. Hold on. I'm going to play you about 30 seconds of this here.
I'm not here to tell you to buy American Eagle jeans. And I definitely won't say that they're the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. Or that they make your butt look amazing. Why would I need to do that? But if you said that you want to buy the jeans, I'm not going to stop you. But just so we're clear, this is not me telling you to buy American Eagle jeans.
Sydney Sweeney has great jeans.
This commercial by American Eagle, which shows her fully clothed in a jean jacket and jean pants, is now being called racist because the guy comes on and says Sydney Sweeney, who is a knockdown, gorgeous, beautiful woman, it says Sydney Sweeney has good genes. Play on words there, right? That she has good G-E-N-E-S instead of J-E-A-N-S. And everybody's claiming it's racist because they're referring to a white woman as beautiful.
That's just stupid. But who are they trying to market it to? Because I feel like American Eagle is a younger type, like, teenagers and down. And that feels like a kind of a sexual but commercial. Am I wrong in that?
No, I mean, you can see her cleavage but below the jean jacket.
But it's the way she's saying it too. Like it clearly has some sort of a sexual.
But it's not racist.
No, it's not racist. That's a stupid argument. I'm just harping on the sexualness.
You got to be honest. I'm thinking Melania Trump has good genes, clearly, right? Zoe Saldana has good genes. Halle Berry has good genes. Chris Hemsworth has good genes. These people are more beautiful than most people. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
you could argue that's not racist
being
to say it.
Racist.
Oh my God.
Have you been to a monster truck, like a Monster Jam event?
I have a couple times over the years, not because I'm a huge fan, but because I got free tickets.
Right. Well, there you go. Me too. So anyway, there was a monster truck or whatever event out of Washington State, and the truck goes over one of those jumps, and the tire ends up flying off the truck, bounces out of the arena. It was an open arena, and it ends up going into the parking lot and crushing a bunch of the cars there. Thankfully, no one injured, but sadly,
thank God they were all in the arena.
So we weren't able to get home because
I
our car
saw
was
that.
crushed.
That is a massive mechanical failure.
They're
Those
huge.
tires are oh my goodness.
Yeah, who signed off on that saying you're good to go?
It's a good question. All right, here you go. Here's an animal story for you this morning. There is a movement, and I didn't know this. There's a movement to stop the Blue Angels from performing because of the noise they make. A woman has sued the Blue Angels over her cat's death. She calls it state-sanctioned acoustic torture.
I'm
And I'm not making this up. Now, the woman is a climate activist, right?
No.
And she blames the military jets for traumatizing her cat.
Okay.
They're calling it the Air Show Climate Action Coalition. These people on the left coast are nuts, aren't they? And they want to stop the Blue Angels from flying at all because they generate significant carbon emissions. Oh, and they killed her cat.
I'm sorry
apparently.
about your cat. That is really sad. But the Blue Angels did not kill your cat.
It's war trauma. These people are all suffering from war trauma, just so you know.
That's stupid.
They have PTSD.
I have a big fear of spiders. Not a fan at all. And I did not know that tarantulas are in Missouri. It is tarantula mating season. So heads up, you're about to likely see more tarantulas. I just thought they were in these warmer climates, which I know that's where you tend to find them more. You know, you Arizona and Texas and New Mexico, places like that. But they do have them, I guess, in Missouri.
You know what
The
my
Texas brown can be found in Oklahoma and
You
Missouri.
know what my wife's expiration date is? The day she sees one of those.
Yeah.
She hates spiders, but if she saw one of those, that might be the end of her. I just have to tell you. So today's the day. Today is, I used to have a good friend who used to say that to his son, is today the day. Today's the day that Southwest Airlines, if you buy a ticket, it's no longer a cattle call. Am I right, Kim? That goes into effect in January?
So it's weird. So if you're booking a flight today and the flight is January 27th or after, you will have assigned seating. So it sounds like if you're booking a flight today and it's for, say, November, you would still do the typical,
You'd still do the cattle call.
A, B, C,
Okay.
D, whatever. But my friend works for Southwest Airlines and she posted they pulled an all-nighter. I mean, she showed this room packed with, I guess, customer service agents trying to navigate all this.
Trying to
because
explain it.
surely people are, calling, what are you talking about? This isn't how it works.
What a nightmare. And plus, they're charging you for luggage now. That place is going downhill. I'm sorry. Coming up, we're going to talk to our friend Todd Piro about that horrible shooting up in New York City yesterday. And we'll get to Mark Walters for 2A Tuesday at about 7:37. Stay tuned.
This year, fuel prices have been a bit of a roller coaster. Here in St. Louis, drivers finally have some relief at the pump. But when it comes to groceries and food, it's still pretty bumpy out there. Well, you know what can make your ride smoother? The Upside app. With Upside, you can earn an average 8% cash back on grocery or restaurant purchases and up to 25 cents per gallon on gas, which means there's money to be earned even when fuel prices are low. There are hundreds of nearby locations like Schnucks, Burger King, Arby's, and Taco Bell. Download the app and see why millions of Upside users have racked up almost $1 billion in cash back earned. For a limited time, get a 10% bonus on your first purchase with promo code STL11. That's promo code STL11 for an extra 10% cash back bonus. With Upside, you can roll up to a nearby grocery store, restaurant, or gas station and coast straight to cash back earnings. Don't forget to use promo code STL11. Upside. Cashback smarter. Offers vary by user and location. Terms and conditions apply. Go to upside.com for details.
There's been a lot of talk about tariffs, how it's going to do this and it's going to destroy the economy. Prices are going to go up. Depending where you get your news from or your information from, it's going to make everything unaffordable and so on and so forth. Tariffs have absolutely zero effect on the heating and cooling equipment that we purchase. So don't be misled and fooled that if you're told that you have to buy something now because of tariffs, call me. That's the nicest thing I can say. Call me for a second opinion. Bart Inman, one easy number, Missouri and Illinois. There's only one. If you do not dial this number, it will be the wrong number. It is area code 314-293-2600. Again, easiest number, Missouri and Illinois, 314-293-2600, or on the computer, bartinman.com. Remember, 0% financing is available for most up to 60 months. Fantastic.
Marc Cox here. Join me, Annie Fry, and Mark Reardon, along with Bob and Tammy Kershaw of the Retirement Advisory Group for the next Protecting Your Retirement educational event. It's Tuesday, August 5th at the Frontenac Hilton at 6:30. Here are Bob and Tammy with more.
Are you nearing retirement or already retired? Do you have your personalized income plan in place? Would you like to learn why linking to the market is much safer than than owning the market, and how in 39 years we have never lost a penny of our clients' money.
Would you like to learn how to automatically lock in your market gains every year without having to sell? Did you also know if you're 59 and a half or older, you can roll over your company retirement plan tax-free to protect your nest egg from any future losses? You'll get all the answers and more. If you're 59 and a half or older, you cannot afford to miss this event.
Protect your retirement nest egg and join the official financial advisors of my show, Bob and Tammy Kershaw, at the Frontenac Hilton, Tuesday, August 5th at 6:30. Go to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
He had a history of mental health issues. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. The gunman who drove cross-country from Nevada, then walked into an office building in New York City last night and started shooting.
It was an M4 rifle, and we also found a revolver in the vehicle with ammunition and magazines.
Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch, he killed 4 people, including an officer.
Didaril Islam, he was shot and killed. He was only 36 years old, working off-duty security at this building. It was like a second job. It was a program through the NYPD to get extra hours and money. He was married with 2 little boys, and his wife is pregnant with their 3rd child.
Fox's Alexis McAdams outside the building on Park Avenue in Manhattan, where the gunman also killed himself.
The New York Post had some information this morning that we're trying to confirm as well, talking about how the gunman played football in high school and had struggled with CTE, reportedly leaving a note in his pocket inside. Could that be a motive? That is still the question.
Another person was wounded, and an executive with the NFL, which has offices in the building. 3 people were killed, 3 wounded in another shooting outside a Reno, Nevada casino. That gunman was shot by police and hospitalized. Russia launched new attacks on Ukraine, killing at least 22 people the day after President Trump shortened his deadline for Russia to stop the war or face new economic sanctions.
The word from the Kremlin and Dmitry Medvedev is ominous. Quote, he should remember 2 things. 1, Russia isn't Israel or even Iran. 2, each new ultimatum is a threat and a step towards war, not between Russia and Ukraine, but with his own country.
The president says Fox's Peter Ducey at the White House. The president's now out golfing at his new course in Scotland. He'll fly back to Washington later. This is going to be a really hot day. Advisories, Nebraska down to Florida, up to New Hampshire. Extreme heat warnings in some areas.
These are feels like, so it's the heat plus the humidity. 110, 111 in Savannah, 109 in Jackson, 110 in Memphis. So a lot of spots getting at least up to triple digits.
Meteorologist Adam Klotz. America's listening to Fox News.
If something happens to you, what happens to your family? Will they struggle financially? Will they be able to afford the home you built together? With Ethos, you can get life insurance coverage in minutes. Get up to $2 million in coverage for as little as $2 a day. All online with no medical exam. Just answer a few health questions. Get your free quote at ethos.com/talk. That's ethos.com/talk. Rates may vary. Billed monthly. Sample rate 10-year term life policy for a 35-year-old healthy non-smoking male.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
Good morning, Tuesday, July 29th. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. Yeah, it's only 7:03 and it's already hot and only going to get hotter. Right now, 83 degrees. St. Louis County is under investigation by the Missouri Attorney General. The investigation is tied to a mailer that had been sent out earlier this year opposing Prop B, which you might remember would have given the county council the power to fire department heads. Well, Sam Page, of course, claims that that was informational. Well, the issue is that taxpayer money was used to pay for the mailers. A new law signed by the governor in Illinois will force gun owners to keep their guns locked up and secured if there's a child 18 years or younger in the home. The previous age in Illinois was 13. Proponents of the bill say this will prevent accidental shootings. Governor J.B. Pritzker also signed a bill that will require law enforcement to report information about guns recovered in a crime to the ATF's E-Trace system. Voters in Creve Coeur will get to decide in November whether the city should collect a use tax for out-of-state online purchases. If this is passed, it would tax online purchases at 1.25%. Creve Coeur's mayor believes the use tax would bring in between $626,000 and $1.2 million in revenue. In sports, Cardinals beat the Marlins 7-1 last night. Game 2 at Busch Stadium, it's going to be hot. That's tonight at 6:45. 7:04 and 83 degrees. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, I just posted on X at Susan6768. This accident, it is southbound 170 south of Olive. Only the left lane is getting by, and traffic is really stacking up behind it. And right now it's north of Page, not quite back to Midland. That is the worst of it this morning. Now, there's a little bit of volume on northbound 270 moderate as you head from Manchester, 55 around Bayless up through the Loughborough area. But other than that, we're good and pretty quiet on the Illinois side as well and on the bridges downtown. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
This should be the hottest day of this long-lasting heat wave. There is still hope on the horizon, but not until Thursday. Partly sunny, hot and humid today. Hottest of this heat wave, 99, 100 degrees. Tonight, warm and humid, 79. Wednesday, partly sunny, still hot and humid, but there will be a couple of thunderstorms around 94. Thursday, partly sunny, a couple of showers and storms around 84. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist, Dave Murray.
7:06, 83 degrees downtown at the Arch right now. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere. Just download our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
All right, good Tuesday morning. Welcome into the Marc Cox Morning Show. And baby, it's hot outside. I was looking at my truck as I got in it this morning, and it said it was already 84 degrees, and that was it just before 4 a.m. So 3 hours ago, it was already 84 degrees, just for those of you keeping track.
Yeah, the window, it's so humid out the window this morning on our glass door going out to the back. He's just like sweating. I
got to tell you, man, shout out to Air Comfort Service. Those folks, they put that new high efficiency unit in my house last year, and they cuts the humidity so much that you might actually get a chill. My wife has complained of being cold several times. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear it. Put a sweater on because this is great. This is fantastic to walk into that house. I played golf yesterday out in St. Charles County, and it was one of the hottest days I can remember. And I will point out that it was a foursome, obviously. The two older guys, of which I was one of the two, played the entire 18 rounds. And the two younger guys quit after about 8 or 9 rounds.
Because they were hot?
And sat in the cart and had beverages. So I'm just saying.
Because they wanted the beverages or because they
I think
were hot?
they were just too hot to continue playing. Now, they're not hardcore golfers to begin with, so that might have had something to do with it.
Well, I know you are.
Well, I try, but I'm not any good at it, but I still try. I have a good time. As the president said the other day, even a bad day on the golf course is a good day.
I'd just like to see how Trump would have done in something like that. I mean, I know he's a
in
phenomenal.
The heat, you mean?
Well, no, just in general. I know he's a phenomenal golfer, but I'd like to see him go up against some of these other guys.
He would have been my ringer.
Are really good at golf, but even the younger guys, he'd probably.
I would be embarrassed to golf with President Trump.
Yeah.
Because he's really good. Like he's a scratch golfer almost. And he's 80 years old, 78 years old. It's incredible. Anyway, good genes there, like Sydney Sweeney. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah, thank you. Must be good genes. All right, coming up, we'll get to Todd Piro, host of Fox and Friends first, and our friend Mark Walters before the end of the hour, because we want to talk a little bit more about his take on the reaction up in New York to this shooting, and we'll talk to Todd Piro about that as well here in just a couple of minutes as we're getting more details on that. But right now, Ethan, let's get to our top stories, please.
The Marc Cox Shortlist.
Senator, are you trying to rewrite history to distract from the Epstein matter, Senator?
No, I'm trying to let you know and the media know that we found something we didn't know before.
Lindsey Graham mixing it up with Kristen Welker. She's such a hardcore protector of the Democrat Party and Barack Obama that she almost yelled at Lindsey Graham, the senator, when he talked about these findings that CIA Director Ratcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard are bringing out. They can't stand the fact that you might try to sully the reputation of Barack Obama.
On the trade deal, over the weekend, Donald Trump announced a new trade deal with the European Union. It will result in a $90 billion per year tax hike on American families. When you raise tariffs, the American families pay for it.
Chuck Schumer, who's never met a tax increase he didn't like in his entire life, is lying to the American public about the deal the president struck with the European Union, trying to claim that somehow it's going to cost Americans more. It's going to cost foreign governments more.
500,000 children came to this country, separated from their families, put in the hands of criminal cartels to be trafficked into this country. The last administration lost track of 300,000. Couldn't find, or they weren't returning phone calls. Weren't when they checked up on them, they just weren't there.
Yeah, how about that? Tom Holman's like, hey, we found close to 13,000 people that the Biden administration, well, they lost a lot more than that. We've already tracked down 13,000 children that they just kind of forgot about or ignored.
What was just released, in my view, undermined the testimony of people like John Brennan. But what Ratcliffe is talking about is exposing it all to show the public exactly what happened.
Yeah, how about that? That's Jonathan Turley, the of course legal analyst who has been very outspoken on a lot of these Russiagate stories, and I'm glad to see him out front on this, because somebody's got to keep pointing this out to people like Kristen Welker, there of NBC News. Well, aren't you just doing this to distract people? No, Kristen, pay attention. Follow the bouncing ball here and listen to what we're telling you. What we have here is new information that we didn't have before. Now, why didn't we have it before? Well, because the people that did it went to extraordinary lengths to hide their illegal behavior, in my opinion. I believe it rises to a conspiracy. And there's no statute of limitations on conspiracy. And as Cully Stimson, who's a legal expert with Heritage, told us yesterday, immunity for the president is limited. While it's wide-ranging, it's limited in its nature. It's limited. If we're talking about a conspiracy to undermine the incoming administration, that might not be covered under the immunity ruling that the Supreme Court made regarding President Trump. So that's something to keep an eye on. I'm not saying anything that I have any confidence anything is going to happen to former President Barack Obama, but I do hope those intelligence officials are held responsible for this. We have hard evidence that the investigators found of some of our top-ranking law enforcement officers bending the rules to get FISA warrants to spy on Americans. And it happened in Trump Tower, where they claimed there was no wiretapping. We know that happened. Listen to this interaction between Lindsey Graham and Kristen Welker. This happened Sunday morning. I missed it somehow yesterday, but listen to this.
Senator, are you trying to rewrite history to distract from the Epstein matter, Senator?
No, I'm trying to let you know and the media know that we found something we didn't know before. At the end of the day, I'm not calling for a prosecution against President Obama for treason, but I am calling for an investigation. Mr. Miller also said there was no credible evidence that President Trump colluded with the Russians. For years and months and days and weeks, people had their lives turned upside down, chasing the Mueller narrative that Trump was in bed with the Russians, that the Trump campaign was colluding with the Russians. The only people colluding with the Russians were the Hillary Clinton campaign and Christopher Steele manufacturing a document to get warrants against Carter Page based on lies and falsehoods. So
thank you, Lindsey Graham. You know, I have a love-hate relationship with him. But right now, he's on track. He is. Why does the media have such a hard time understanding that? Why do they want to rush to there's no there? If you listen to MSDNC this morning, for some reason, you go to Morning Joe over there and you watch it for 4 hours, they'll try every way in the world to convince you there's nothing new, there's nothing to see here, except we have the receipts that they changed their consensus on Russian spying to there was no Russian spying to there were clear connections between Donald Trump, and they spread it out through the government, and they knew that the incoming administration would face strong headwinds and investigations because of what they did, and they did it on purpose. These documents prove that there's no doubt about that. And the mainstream media may not want to believe it. They may not want to accept it. But we know it's the truth because I can't wait for the Durham stuff to come out. That's coming out next. That was part of the classified portion of the Durham report that most of us mere mortals never got to see. So wait till the CIA director Ratliff releases that.
Again, it just goes back to like what's actually going to be in it.
True, but Ratcliffe has seen it, and he's like, "Wait till you see this." I don't think he would have overplayed that.
But Pam Bondi did. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to, and that's Pam Bondi. But I know. I don't want to be critical, but I kind of go into these whole things with a little bit of skepticism.
These days, you have to go into it with a little bit of skepticism, but we can always hope beyond hope. That we see something there that, like they promised, that they come through this time. All right, coming up, Todd Piro, a network news star. Todd Piro is going to join us here in just a couple of minutes, and then we'll get to my friend Mark Walters, host of Armed American Radio, at the bottom of the hour. I want to talk to both of them about this incident in New York that just happened. How it happened. It happened despite the New York having the strongest gun laws anywhere. It sounds like we have a developing story on a major heroic effort by an off-duty police officer in New York City who was the only person around who was armed and could fight back. Now, he lost his life fighting back, but he may be the reason that guy ran to an elevator and went to the 33rd floor and shot himself. It sounds like this officer, who was himself a legal immigrant in the country, put his life on the line here. And we want to celebrate that as well. We'll talk about all that and more coming up in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. Well, there's an accident southbound 170 south of Olive that's really creating a delay. Only the left lane is getting by, and traffic is really stacked up behind this. So if you are a southbound 170 driver and see a jam south of Midland, that's what's happening. Other than that, it's just a little moderate volume. Northbound 270 at Doherty Ferry, northbound 55 north of Bayless in the construction zone, and westbound 64. And that's mainly on the Poplar Street Bridge. Other than that, we're good. This report brought to you by the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. Do you know how to handle money in retirement? And this is not a situation where you think, okay, we've saved some. I think we're ready. We'll just see if this works. No, that just really makes me nervous. And you've got to figure out whether or not you've got a handle on everything and handle it properly. You need a written retirement financial plan in place. Not only will it make you feel better, but you will actually have a plan that you can follow. There are parameters, and you know that this will work for you, and you'll have enough money to take you through your own retirement. This is why I really like financial and tax architects. They've helped so many people throughout our area with retirement, but they do so by explaining things to you and giving you a class called Retirement Planning 101 that highlights what to do. And then you can decide, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to have these people work with me. Or at least now I've got a handle on what's happening. You have to register, so call 314-888-5101, 314-888-5101.
Marc Cox here from my friends at Zero Res. Did you know July is National Carpet Cleaning Month? Because of that, Zero Res is offering 3 rooms of carpet clean, get one free, plus $50 off air duct services. We all have graduation parties and summer barbecues and family gatherings. It's time to call Zero Res. These are the folks who clean without soap, harsh chemicals, or that weird musty smell your Aunt Linda's house always has. Zero Res can handle it all. They do carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, air ducts. Basically, every surface in your home can be Zero Resified. Now, Zero Res has a 4.9 rating on Google with over 5,800 reviews. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResSTL.com or call 314-474-2020 and ask for the 97.1 FM Talk special. Spell it backward or forward, it spells the same. Zero Res.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
Hey guys, it's Mark Reardon. If you're struggling with low energy, performance issues, or weight gain, Game Day Men's Health has got you covered with testosterone therapy, ED treatments, and more in all of a relaxed man cave environment. At Game Day, you'll get a free testosterone test and consultation, all in just 1 hour. Game Day is the premier men's health clinic with locations in Chesterfield, O'Fallon, Missouri, and Glen Carbon, Illinois. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. That's GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get back in the game with Game Day Men's Health.
Missouri Grit. Marc Cox on 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
It is a Tuesday morning at 7:22, and that can mean only one thing, and that is that we are joined by our friend, Mr. Todd Piro, host of Fox and Friends First.
Oh, I'm sure it's great to have me here.
Now, we didn't say that, Todd.
What?
Let's not go too far.
It's always great to have you, Todd.
So, yeah, we made a little news in the tri-state yesterday.
Boy, I saw that. I was listening to the interview with Mayor Adams this morning where he was talking about the police officer, Didarel Islam, I think was his name.
Correct.
Who was really the only person there who was armed to try to protect that lobby, and he did his best and then got killed for it.
Yeah, I mean, I asked that question of our first guest today because it was the first chance I had to interview anybody on this. And I'm like, if you are a prominent building, like the building that houses Blackstone and the NFL presumably is, don't you have more than one or two guys with guns?
Yeah, you'd think.
Well, you bring that up, and Hannity had a guy on last night who was a retired New York City police officer. I played his bite earlier, and he said, listen, here's what always happens. These high-profile buildings have an incident. They temporarily increase their security level. Then they look at the bottom line and see how much it's costing them, and they go right back to the way they did it before. He goes, until we adjust that mindset, because people don't attack federal buildings where there are armed guards and police and all that. Until we go back to that mindset, you're not going to just deter things like this.
I mean, look, I'm not going to go into full detail on what we have here, but, we have layers and we have protection.
Sure.
I'd imagine, how much more money does the NFL need to pull in before it, stations a guy with a gun there? I'm pretty sure the NFL can afford it.
Oh my God, Roger Goodell could pay for it out of his salary and not even mention it. It would be like a decimal error or something.
Right. So, I pitched the story for tomorrow, guys. I said, look, because of the discussion downstairs as I was finishing my show and getting ready for my my reporter hit on Fox and Friends was building security. And we were asking about our own, we were asking about our friends and, wondering what, and if people are talking about that this morning, then they're going to be talking about it for the rest of the week. So I pitched it as a story. I think we need to have this discussion because it's, to your point, it gets forgotten.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in too many of these things, we forget because it's a building issue, right? Like they might have a guard stationed upstairs outside of the NFL office doors. The lobby issue is a tenant management issue. And if you've got KPMG and Fox, not Fox, but the NFL and these other big name businesses in that building, they should be demanding that the landlord has more security in the lobby. You're right, absolutely. And I think going forward, you're going to see a lot more of that.
I think I made clear that this is a very, very distant silver lining because 4 souls lost their life, including this amazing police officer with a child on the way, 2 already there. It just wrong. But hopefully something changes. But to your point, the bad guys always figure out something. And actually, to your point, I apologize for adding a point that you didn't make. We forget, and then we get lax, and things change. So hopefully they don't change this time. Yes.
You don't realize the importance of it until something like this happens. And then you look back and think, wow, we should have been on top of that. I think the other conversation that a lot of people will be having that I'm assuming this guy wanted to happen was the conversation about CTE and these repeated blows when I guess this guy was just a star high school player, didn't even play in college. Is that what you're hearing, Mark? Or maybe he played over in some other league?
Some Twitter banter this morning, a couple of posts I saw that claimed he played maybe professionally in Canada, but I haven't seen that anywhere else.
Still, it's
so
not
I don't know
like
if that's true or not, but he was mad that the NFL, he claims, has blocked more study into CTE.
Again, certainly worth the conversation. I've dodged a little bit of this decision because I have 2 girls, and again, not to be sexist, but I probably don't have to worry about the football discussion with them.
Yeah.
It looks like they'll be playing princess. But if I had a boy, I look at some of my friends who played high school ball, or one guy was recruited to play in college, and he has 2 boys, and they never played football. They played basketball. So, on the flip side of that is, what am I going to do this fall? I'm going to turn on Saturday morning at 9 a.m., watch the college pregame shows. And then as I'm doing my chores throughout the house, there'll be football on until there's not. And the same thing will happen on Sunday. Again, I watch the Giants until about 6 minutes in, and then I turn it off to watch those princess movies because the Giants make me sad.
You're lying to me. You're going to be watching Frozen a million times. Come on, Todd.
Mostly because the Giants. It's nothing to do with my girls. I choose to watch Frozen. The Giants make me sad. But the overall point is, it's a discussion because I can call for this in one breath, and then the next breath, I watch a ton of football. So what's the answer? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good point. Well, Todd, listen, we'll let you get back to it. We appreciate your time, my friend. Thank you.
Have a great week, St. Louis.
Yeah, you too. Hang in there. Rough. I'm sure a lot of nervous people up there in those high rises in New York. The guy, there's video of him walking, across a square carrying this
broad daylight. I know.
In a business suit. That had to stand out to somebody.
Right. Nothing to see here. I mean, the image of people barricading themselves inside their office it's really scary.
It brings up the fact that even if you call 911, there's a delay before they get there. That varies depending on the agency, but self-protection may be the answer in a lot of these cases. They don't have it in New York. They don't hardly have that right. We'll talk to Mark Walters about that coming up here in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with news for listeners who, like me, want to learn more about Bitcoin. Bitcoin Ben's Crypto Club is coming to St. Louis later this summer. The Bitcoin Ben Crypto Clubs teach members what Bitcoin is, how to buy it, how to safely store it, and how to avoid scams. And we'll connect with others like us who want to learn more about crypto. St. Louis will be the 7th club nationwide and Ben's hometown. If you want to know more about Bitcoin, you need to know Bitcoin Ben. Learn more at bitcoinben.io. That's bitcoinben.io.
The Cards, the Marlins.
Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45. Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, the doctor's doctors, 314-966-5000 or online at youridoc.com.
Yeah, I mentioned this the other day. I got a credit card offer from a local department store, and when I looked at the APR, I almost choked. It was almost 34%. It was like 33.9% was the annual percentage rate. Really, I mean, think about that. You're paying a third of the balance in interest. I mean, it's a penalty is what it is. If you've got a bunch of credit cards with a bunch of outstanding debt and you're paying 20, 25, 30, 35% interest, it's going to take you forever to pay it off. Call Golden Oak Lending. That's my advice to you. 314-567-GOLD. If you're a homeowner, you're sitting on equity in your home, you can refinance it, take some money, take some of that equity, pay off that high interest debt, and then get a lower rate with Golden Oak Lending. They'll tell you how they can help. Just call 314-567-GOLD and talk to them today. Tell them Marc Cox sent you. It is goldenoaklending.com, NMLS number 114937.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. 83 degrees now at 7:30. A judge will decide the fate of dozens of St. Louis firefighters who say they were blocked from receiving a promotion. The fire chief says City Hall had stopped these promotions a few years ago when Tashara Jones was mayor. Those promotions were based on a test that had been given to firefighters that's since been changed because of questions about its fairness. Heads up, Missouri's annual tax-free weekend. That starts in just a few days. It'll run from 12:01 a.m. Friday until midnight Sunday. Back-to-school holiday allows shoppers to buy items like school supplies, computers, and clothes without paying local or state taxes. Illinois does not have a tax-free weekend this year. In sports, Cardinals beat the Marlins 7-1 last night. Game 2 at Busch Stadium tonight, 6:45. 7:31, 83 degrees. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, some good news in traffic. Looks like they have just cleared that accident southbound 170 south of Olive. And for a while, we had only the left lane getting by. So we've got a jam that goes back near the Rock Road. It's just taking a minute to unwind through there. Now, there's also some volume this morning on southbound 270. It's mainly as you head on down toward Ladue Road, but it's some moderate volume that goes back north of Page. Now, northbound 270 is mainly moderate volume in pockets. 21 through Manchester. 55, of course, is slowing just north of Bayless as you head into the work zone there. And there's some moderate volume headed for and crossing the Poplar Street Bridge. But other than that, it's okay on the Illinois side. This report brought to you by Lakeside Renovation and Design. For over 25 years, they've been St. Louis's trusted choice for transforming homes inside and out. They do windows, siding, kitchens, bathrooms, outdoor spaces, and deliver quality craftsmanship backed by lifetime warranties. Visit lakesiderd.com to start your dream project today. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
All right, just passed along my friend Matt Hayes' phone number this morning to a friend interested in some foundation repairs in the basement. What does that mean? Well, that means that you have a foundation for your home. Sometimes it's a slab, sometimes it's a basement. Whatever it happens to be, Matt is the guy to fix it if you're having problems. So he showed me pictures the other day of somebody who lived on a slab home, but they had a plumbing problem underneath the slab. When they broke it open, they found a huge erosion problem underneath his house. And he was able to go in there with his polyjacking services, polyurethane, fill up that hole, before they face something like that concrete collapsing there. That's just one example. If you've got water leaking into your basement, Matt can fix it. He can waterproof cracks. He can put in drain tiles. He can put in sump pumps, whatever it takes to fix the foundation. He's going to do it for you, and he's not going to upsell you. He's going to come in personally. The owner of this small company will come in personally, look at your problem, and then get it taken care of for you honestly. 314-227-9636. Ask him about his lifetime warranty on all of his work. That's 314-227-9636. HomeShieldFoundationRepairs.com.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Men, do you want infinite vitality? Are you experiencing difficulty trying to lose weight? Having loss of muscle mass or even a loss of libido? Maybe you have feelings or depression or just constant fatigue. Infinite Vitality has a solution for you. Ditch the dad bod and reclaim your mojo. Mention Annie and get a $50 credit towards hormone replacement therapy and weight loss services. Call 618-486-1888. That's 618-486-1888. Infinite-vitality.com.
When disaster strikes, the Urban League of Metropolitan St. Louis is there. Tornadoes have left families displaced and communities in crisis, but you can help. The Urban League Tornado Disaster Relief Humanitarian Fund provides emergency shelter, food, clothing, and critical support to those affected. Your donation brings hope when it's needed most. Visit ulstl.com to donate. That's ulstl.com. Stand with us. Stand for St. Louis.
Cutting through the spin. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
A 3.5-year NYPD veteran was shot in the back and killed by the suspect.
He was saving lives. He was protecting New Yorkers. He's an immigrant from Bangladesh, and he loved this city. And everyone we spoke with stated he was a person of faith.
If you ban them in the future, the bullets will have been shot and there won't be any more available.
So you don't shoot deer with a bullet that size. If you do, you could cook it at the same time.
Put that double-barrel shotgun and fire 2 blasts outside the house.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
This is 2A Tuesday, brought to you by the Range St. Louis West.
Mark Walters back with us from Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. And Mark, that was the mayor up in New York talking yesterday about this police officer who gave his life to try to protect people in that lobby in this shooting in New York.
Yeah, good morning, guys. How are you this morning? Good morning, Kim.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Morning.
So Mark, there's a lot to unpack about this. Where do you want to start?
Well, I mean, first of all, the guy's strolling down the street in a business suit, carrying a semi-automatic sporting rifle on his shoulder, and apparently nobody was alarmed about it till he walked in the lobby of a building that houses the NFL and KPMG and all these other huge companies who had apparently minimal security.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. Let's start there. Because what that does, and I'm going to jump on this horse because it has to be mentioned. It's why I do what I do, and it's why we talk about these things. But that is a complete, utter breakdown and failure of all of the gun control laws in New York City right off the bat.
Yep.
Every single one of them. The vest, the rifle, walking in and openly carrying a gun. He didn't care, did he, about any existing New York gun law. In fact, I would bet you probably didn't even look to see what the laws were because he didn't want to. He knew he was going to kill himself. So I better not break that law right before I kill myself. This is the way people need to think. These people don't care about any law whatsoever. If they want to do what they're going to do, they're going to do it, period. It's the utter failure of breakdown. And that leads to, Kim, you were talking about the barricades, right? When I saw that, that broke my heart.
Yeah.
None of those people have a fighting chance. So let's kind of reframe the argument here. When you are denied a right to defend your life with a firearm, you are in essence denied the right to fight and have a fighting chance to defend your life by the state. Think about that. Let that sink in. You are left to, I don't know how long it took them to throw that furniture up in those piles. But think about what was going through their mind when they were done doing that and they had to sit there and wait.
Sitting
ducks. You don't put it in perspective enough.
Yeah, I mean, you think about what happened was at the Michigan Walmart where this maniac with a knife just walks around randomly stabbing people in the aisles, and it wasn't until a good guy with a gun in the parking lot got the crazy guy to put the knife down.
Yeah, and it took the media about a full day, including Fox News, to report that aspect.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. The Daily Mail is the first place I saw it. The day that it happened, the Daily Mail had a picture of a guy in the parking lot holding this guy at gunpoint, and it was another full 10 or 12 hours before the mainstream media started admitting that just an everyday citizen with a gun finally stopped the guy.
Yeah, I was really disappointed in Fox News for that. I put a tweet out on that regarding the Fox News failure that got thousands of views very quickly and a lot of retweets. We weren't the only people that noticed that, obviously. Because I asked this question on my show, what is it about that aspect of a story that the media simply does not want to report? Now, that's an editorial decision. It has to be. Don't mention that. Do you not think Fox News had that Facebook tape that was running around showing the individual holding him at gunpoint? Of course they did. So there was a decision made not to report that until whatever, who knows why they do what they do. But that's a glaring lie of omission, and it's disappointing. It's very disappointing to see that because it's just simply news. Why not report it? Political agenda over the news. Proof of it.
Yeah, it's a good point. I don't have an answer for that. I mean, I didn't specifically track. I mean, I was listening to Fox and CNN and MSNBC and the networks, and you're right. It took them a while to get around to reporting it. Maybe it's because we're more aware of it. We're more sensitive to the fact that they won't report on that more often, right? Maybe that's it. I don't know.
Yeah,
but there was a delay.
I can't wrap my head around that either. I will say this: hats off to CNN for reporting it long before Fox did.
Did they really? Okay.
Yeah, they did. CNN actually reported it before Fox. If you jump to the coverage of this now, there was an inherent amount of coverage of this individual having a concealed carry license from Las Vegas. Multiple times being referenced in a story, and I question why. Is that part of, concealed carriers are dangerous? See what happens if you have a concealed carry permit?
Probably.
This type of thing.
Probably. But guess what? He wasn't concealing that gun he was strapped on his shoulder in any way, shape, or form. He didn't even try to hide it.
It's like he wanted people to see him walking with it.
Right.
Well, I believe, probably psychologically he did.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make any effort to conceal it. He didn't wear an overcoat or a trench coat we hear, remember? Going back to Columbine. He made no effort to cover that. He could have. It might have, maybe it would have looked more odd for somebody having a trench coat, would have drawn more attention in summer heat than that. I don't know. I don't have the answers to this. What I do know is the guy didn't care about any law. He was on a mission. He did what he did. And they're now reporting that he was upset at football. And we know the NFL had offices there, but they were on the 5th floor, from what I understand. He wound up on the 33rd. So who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe he didn't know that. I have no idea.
We don't know the answer to that. At the end of the day, it's another person mentally disturbed. They said this guy had been diagnosed with a mental condition. Now, in the state of Missouri, I don't know what's like in Georgia, if you get a concealed carry permit, it's good for 5 years, and then you have to go in and renew it. So let's assume Nevada has the same law. The question now is, when was he diagnosed with mental health problems, and was it properly reported to the FBI? I mean, I don't know.
And what was he diagnosed with?
Correct.
What's the definition of mental health problem? Well, we hear mental health all the time. We hear people using it, throwing it around as political banter, right? And the right does it when it comes to guns, mental health issues. Well, let's describe what is mental health? Who makes that subjective call that we all fall into a particular category when we hit that line of mental health issues? What is that?
Yeah. So you get back from a war situation and you're diagnosed with PTSD, which is treatable. Right. Do you strip all veterans of the right to bear arms after they fought for this country? No.
They try, and we fight them in court and win every single time.
Right.
But they try. And again, under the guise of that mental health issue, right? I mean, these are very important conversations to have. And, you know, I'm not trying to be cynical here, but it's cynical on its surface that these laws are utter failures. And I'm not, making light of what happened. It's impossible to do that. What he did was awful. But he made a conscious decision to violate laws and didn't care about one of them. Not one of them. And not one new law, and this is the end all here, would have stopped him. Kathy Hochul can't say, gosh, if we just had this, he wouldn't have been able to walk down the street. Let's make that more illegal so someone else will think about it the next time right before they kill themselves.
Yeah, a criminal who ignored the law.
There's nothing that will work. A criminal will be a criminal. End of discussion.
Yeah, it's a great point. And we'll find out a little bit more about this guy. I don't know what his issues were. The story seems to be that he's had some brain problem from playing football and blamed the NFL for not being more aggressive or for blocking action to try to treat that. I don't know why he thought Roger
I don't know
Goodell,
why would the NFL, Mark, be responsible when all he did was play college or high school football? Why is that the NFL's problem?
I don't know.
Right?
He referenced some former NFL player who committed suicide by drinking antifreeze in the note that was on his body. And apparently he held that against the NFL for not dealing with it sooner. He was mentally disturbed. That's the story here, because normal people don't do things like that.
Well, now watch the left bring the mental health issue in, because they are jumping on the fact that he had a concealed weapons license. There's a reason they do that.
Yeah.
Because that has nothing to do with this case whatsoever and what happened.
Yep.
But they're not going to fail to mention that, because that makes concealed carry weapons holders, license holders look bad. So the media will do that. But they will not report the good aspect unless they're absolutely forced to. And that's where I got to hand it off to Twitter and stuff like that, because that video was out there very quickly. The mainstream media, and I lump Fox in with the mainstream media, was then forced to report that. If you didn't have social media outlets, as much as I hate to admit this, then you likely would have not seen from any mainstream reporting whatsoever that there was a good guy with the gun on scene.
That's a good point.
Had it not been for social media. So I guess it has its qualities.
Mark, remind people where they can listen to Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Yeah, we'll be talking about this, of course, in great detail and likely no more today. ArmedAmericanRadio.com to click listen live, 3 o'clock Central Time, every day, Monday through Friday.
We'll talk soon, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day. You too, Kim.
See ya.
All right. See you. Thank you, Mark. Coming up, we're going to get to Kim on a whim. What are we talking about?
Well, Trump was in Scotland, of course, yesterday talking about that massive EU deal. But what also came up with was this aid for Gazans. And maybe I've been living under a rock, but it seems like that was the most I've heard him lately talking about this whole situation. What does this mean moving forward? Let's talk about that.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning to you. It's hot out there. I know that's a shock. But we also have some volume. And if you are a southbound 270 driver, things are really lined up. There was an accident reported near Ladue Road, and that has really caused a delay in that area. By the way, that accident is southbound 270 just past Ladue Road in the right lanes. And this has caused a delay that goes back. Wow, it's north of Olive. It's now north of Page. It's back to Dorset. And that's the worst of it. Now, northbound 270 just has the usual moderate volume. So that's in pockets north of 55 through the Clayton Road overpass. Eastbound Highway 30 this morning is pretty slow at Gravois Bluffs right now. 55 northbound slowing just north of Bayless, headed into the construction zone. And eastbound 70, some moderate volume in the O'Fallon area this morning, Lake St. Louis Boulevard through K, and then it opens up. And there's some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Today may be the hottest day we've had this summer, and boy, if that air conditioner is not working, you're going to need help. Here's the number. Go ahead and put it in your phone just in case. You really never know. 314-513-0091. That gets you to my friends at Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, and they're happy to come over and help. They do emergency service 24 hours a day. Let me give you the number again very slowly. 314-513-0091. This is a company you can trust with your replacing your furnace or your air conditioner. They did both for me about a year ago, and I was just bragging to Kim earlier that my wife walked in yesterday from outside and said, "It's almost cold in here. I'm freezing." I'm like, put a sweatshirt on. This is great. I love my new system from Air Comfort Service, but if all you need is a repair, they're happy to do that too. Get on their maintenance program. They'll check your systems 2 times a year. And then, of course, if you need help, you get discounts on labor and parts on top of that. You just can't beat Air Comfort Service. They will keep you in your comfort zone. It's aircomfortservice.com, 314-513-0091.
A Midwestern mom from Edwardsville, Illinois, rooted in faith, grounded in family. Annie Fry brings common sense and conviction to the conversation. The Annie Fry Show, weekdays at noon on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Surprise! Surprise! You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Celebrate National Carpet Cleaning Month with Zero Res and purchase 3 rooms of carpet clean, get 1 free, plus $50 off air duct services. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings.
Are you looking to hire? ZipRecruiter finds the best candidate for your job fast. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Marc Cox is St. Louis Conservative. Kim on a Whim.
All right, so there's a question about what's really going on in Gaza, because people were talking about obviously all this starvation and the humanitarian crisis, and it's been interesting to see kind of what's been playing out over the last 48 hours or so, because here's what Netanyahu said on Sunday, of course, the Israeli prime minister.
There is no starvation in Gaza. We enable humanitarian throughout the duration of the war to enter Gaza. Otherwise, there would be no Gaza.
That's not exactly what Trump is saying. So he was in the UK. He was in Scotland yesterday talking to the UK prime minister, and here's what he had to say.
That's real starvation stuff. I see it. And you can't fake that. So we're going to be even more involved. We did some airlifts before, some airdrops, and the people are running for it.
That's really the most I've heard Trump talking about this whole situation in quite some time. Am I mistaken there?
No. I mean, I've not heard him talk about. He's talked about aid to Gaza and making sure they're facilitating aid packages getting in there.
Well, now he's talking about upping the effort.
First time I've heard him directly talk against Netanyahu on that issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the big key takeaway from that, I think, is that Trump came out and publicly disagreed with Netanyahu on this issue. And, I don't know.
So will Netanyahu respond?
Yeah. I mean, the IDF is facilitating aid packages, and they have been all along. The question is what happens to them once they get there, right?
Well, yeah, if Hamas is just taking all the food, I'm not saying you don't still make an effort, but that's a problem. If Hamas is just stealing all the food.
Right.
I would probably agree more with Trump than I don't necessarily agree with Netanyahu. I think there is probably starvation going on, but it's not because there haven't been efforts to get food in there. It's because the terrorists who are leading that area and in control of it and have been for quite some time, they're taking it all away.
Well, I can tell you one thing, that it's making news on this side of the pond. It's not in the top. It's not above the fold in the Jerusalem Post this morning.
Really?
I'm looking at the Jerusalem Post, and any controversy or whatever between Trump and Netanyahu is not reflected here. They're mad at they are mad at Starmer, who apparently is contemplating something that would recognize the Palestinian state, is what they're reporting here on statehood recognition plan. They're mad about that, but there's not a direct comment on Trump's comments criticizing Netanyahu.
Well, it's hard to criticize Trump over there because they've just been celebrating all that he's been doing for Israel.
Right.
We were just talking about this whole situation out of New York and the horrific shooting and how all the people are going to say, this is why we need more gun control. And I wonder what all the big pro-Palestinian people are going to sit here and say now that Trump's come out and said, well, clearly there is starvation going on. See, I told you, you just have been in denial. Let's just see how this whole thing plays out.
So Netanyahu issued a statement saying we already allow significant amounts of humanitarian aid. They have paused fighting between 10 a.m. and 8 p.m. every day to allow for the safe passage of aid convoys. I mean, they're doing quite a bit, but any conversation on this has to start with October 7th. The reason all of this is happening is because Hamas murdered, raped, and killed a lot of Israelis on October 7th. And that's where the discussion has to start for me every single time. Bellyache all you want now, but they started it. And now they find themselves in this horrible situation. Coming up, we'll talk to Ryan Schmelz about President Trump's nominees being stalled.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Are you nearing retirement and don't know if you have enough money saved to retire? That is scary. Do you have a written retirement financial plan in place? Well, when it comes to retirement planning, the trusted team at Financial and Tax Architects are the best. They've helped people all over St. Louis retire with confidence. And that's what you want. You want to retire with confidence. Now, they offer a one-night, 2.5-hour adult education class called Retirement Planning 101. They hold these at colleges over the St. Louis area and in Illinois. No cost, no obligation, just learning. And at this class, you learn how to avoid costly mistakes, how to maximize your income, how to reduce taxes in retirement. So call them today, 314-888-5101, or visit fta-ria.com and take the first step toward a smarter retirement. 314-888-5101.
It's Mark Reardon for Underdog Fantasy, reminding you that you can still go yard all baseball season long with Underdog's Champions Game. It's so easy. And Underdog is a leading place to make all of your sports selections, and you can play in Missouri. It's one of the fastest growing sports apps. Millions have already won billions making plays on Underdog. And to play, all you have to do is download the app. You choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats. From baseball, it's home runs, strikeouts, total bases, and so much more. Once you put an entry together, if it feels good, you can play with as little as $1. If you get everything right, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. So download the Underdog app. Sign up with the promo code MARKR. That will unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. Again, the promo code is MARKR. Must be 18 plus and present in Missouri. Terms apply. See underdogfantasy.com/web/deposit-match-terms. Concerned with your play, call 800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-500-5000.
That's 314-500-5000.
All on the free Odyssey app.
Why did he do it? I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That is a big question in New York City. Morning after gunman Shane Tamura drove across the country from Nevada, walked into a high rise on Park Avenue in Manhattan, and started shooting in the lobby, and then up on the 33rd floor, killing an off-duty police officer working security and 3 others until he shot and killed himself.
Mayor Eric Adams said a suicide note in Tamura's pocket claimed he suffered from a brain disorder, CTE, from playing in the NFL. But Adams told Fox 5 New York Tamura never played pro football.
We're still going through the suicide note to zero in on the exact reason, but at this time, it appears as though something that is attached to his belief he experienced CTE from playing in the NFL.
NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch said Monday night Tamura has a documented history of mental issues.
Well, that's Fox's Gernal Scott, an executive with the NFL, which has offices in that building, was shot and wounded in the attack. Police in Nevada also trying to figure out why a man started shooting in the valet parking area outside a casino in Reno, killing 3 people, wounding 3 others. He's now hospitalized after police shot him. The Coast Guard has an investigation near Miami Beach the morning after a barge ran into a sailboat operated by a youth sailing camp, sending kids overboard under the barge.
2 children, girls, just 7 and 13, were pulled from the water, but then later died at the hospital. Still in critical condition this morning are an 8 and 11-year-old little girl.
Fox's Dana Marie McNichol near the scene. President Trump is out golfing on his new course in Aberdeen, Scotland, before ending his 5-day trip.
We'll play it very quickly, and then I go back to D.C., and we put out fires all over the world. We did one yesterday. As you know, we stopped the war.
Referencing the Thailand-Cambodia conflict, but the day after he shortened his deadline for Russia to stop the war in Ukraine, new attacks killed at least 22 people. There's a big deal on the railroad. Union Pacific is merging with Norfolk Southern. America's listening to Fox News.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/today. Ethos.com/today.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call Cordell & Cordell today, because your business is more than a job, it's your legacy.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. 600 Kelwood, St. Louis. CordellCordell.com.
Good morning. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk. Sunny and hot already, 83 degrees at 8:03. St. Louis County is under investigation by the Missouri Attorney General. Investigation is tied to a mailer sent out earlier this year opposing Prop B, which you might remember would have given the county council the power to fire department heads. Well, here's the problem. Taxpayer money was used to pay for those mailers. Of course, County Executive Sam Page claims it was informational for the voters. A new law signed by the governor in Illinois will force gun owners to keep their guns locked up and secured if there's a child 18 years or younger in the home. The previous age was 13. Proponents of the bill say this will prevent accidental shootings. Governor J.B. Pritzker also signed a bill that will require law enforcement to report information about guns recovered in a crime to the ATF's e-trace system. Voters in Creve Coeur will get to decide now in November whether the city should collect a use tax for out-of-state online purchases. And if this is passed, it would tax online purchases at 1.25%. Creve Coeur's mayor believes this use tax would bring in between $626,000 and $1.2 million in revenue. In sports, Cardinals beat the Marlins 7-1 last night. Game 2 at Busch Stadium starts at 6:45. 8:04 and 83 degrees. I'm Kim St. Ange for 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Watch out for a stall eastbound 6440 past Boone's Crossing. It just got reported on the left shoulder, and that's always a little bit tricky. Now, the worst of it right now is southbound 270. We've got an accident on the right-hand side, just a little south of Ladue Road. And this thing has really created a jam behind it. So southbound 170 is jammed north of Dorset. Now, we also have a slow go this morning on southbound 141, especially approaching Ladue Road to just south of 64. Yeah, it's been a slow go through there. And we've also got just the usual volume on northbound 270. But that means slow pockets of moderate volume north of Gravois through 64. 55 slowing north of Bayless in the construction zone. Some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. And eastbound 40, a little bit of moderate volume through Chesterfield Valley. It could be worse, just a little. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan of McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyhomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
This should be the hottest day of this long-lasting heat wave. There is still hope on the horizon, but not until Thursday. Partly sunny, hot and humid today. Hottest of this heat wave, 99, 100 degrees. Tonight, warm and humid, 79. Wednesday, partly sunny, still hot and humid, but there will be a couple of thunderstorms around 94. Thursday, partly sunny, a couple showers and storms around 84. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
83 right now downtown at the Arch at 8:06. You can listen to the Marc Cox Morning Show or any other show on 97.1 FM Talk anytime or anywhere by downloading our free Odyssey app.
The Marc Cox Morning Show is brought to you by Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group, retirementkey.com.
This is the Marc Cox Morning Show.
You're back with us on a Tuesday morning. Happy that you're in here. You got a warm start to the day already. I don't know what to expect this afternoon. I'm glad I golfed yesterday when it was only 98 instead of today when it may be 99.
That 1 degree difference really is going to the make or break it point.
The
for a
heat
lot of
index
people.
was like 111 according to my buddy I was golfing with yesterday. I don't know if that's accurate according to the meteorologist, but it sure seemed like it out there for sure. My game was hot yesterday. I can honestly say that.
The temperature of your
golf game was hot. I was hot yesterday. It didn't improve my golf game any, but I was certainly hot for sure.
Good.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, shout out to all those folks, the Missouri GOP PAC out there and the money they raised yesterday for Adam Schnelting. Great to see everyone, and hopefully we can repeat that again for candidates in the future moving forward and move the ball down the field on that, so to speak. By the way, a little update I just heard on this shooting out of New York. They're, of course, tracking this individual. His name is Shane Tamura. He walked into a skyscraper in New York yesterday, openly carrying a rifle and open fire, engaging people in the lobby, killed a police officer who was working a secondary job in the lobby of this building. The building housed the NFL, KPMG, among other well-known names you'd recognize that are sort of national brands. And what I just learned was we know that he was upset with the NFL, and assumed that he was there to extract some sort of revenge on the NFL, right? Fortunately, I guess I'm going to say fortunately, I mean, I don't know this 100% for sure. He didn't do his homework very well because he was mentally deranged, because you don't do something like this unless you're mentally deranged. And what we're learning this morning, the little tidbit I just learned from Mayor Eric Adams, who was live a few minutes ago on one of the network programs, is that he went into the lobby, he engaged, he shot some people, he killed the police officer, and he went to the elevator bank and he took the wrong elevator bank. Now, if you've been in any of the big buildings downtown, there are two different elevator banks. One takes you maybe up to the first 12 or 13 floors. There's a second one that skips all those, and then it starts above that. He took the elevator bank that took the higher floors. So he ended up getting off on the 33rd floor. And I guess when he realized that he wasn't going to be able to get to where he wanted to go, he took his own life on the 33rd floor.
And somebody else's.
On that floor?
He killed somebody on that floor and then killed himself. And did you hear that the police officer who was killed, that he had 2 children and his wife is pregnant with her third?
Yes.
That just gutted me this morning when I heard that.
And he was a legal immigrant to this country and working as a police officer there in New York City. And what a shame. I mean, he sacrificed his life to save people. It may very well be that by engaging with that gunman, he drove him, to the back of the building. The guy was trying to get to the elevators, and thank goodness. I mean, it's just a shame other people didn't have a chance to defend themselves, as we talked about just a little earlier in 2A Tuesday. If you missed that, you can go to the podcast, or you can hit the rewind button on the Odyssey app, whatever it takes to get back and listen to that conversation we had with Mark Walters earlier, and then Todd Piro before that, because obviously he lives in New York, or he works in New York. He didn't live there, but he works in New York, and he was been covering this story this morning as well. Coming up, we are going to get to Ryan Schmelz out of D.C., where he's covering, among other things, the fact that they've tried to get Trump's judge picks approved, but the Democrats have slowed this process down in the Senate. So now the question is, the president would like to do some recess appointments, but there's a specific way that the Senate has to recess itself in order for him to legally be able to do that. So I think that's what the issue is here, because the president can make some recess appointments if they would just do that. I don't know why John Thune wouldn't do that, or if he's going to keep them there through the break. We'll talk to Ryan Schmelz about that. Our friend Ryan Wiggins will be in just a little bit later this morning as well at about 8:35. Right now, though, I tell you what, let's go ahead and get to our top stories.
The Marc Cox Short List.
Ethan, hold on just a minute. That is my audio fault here. Here we go.
This administration is attempting to use this program as a tool in their cruel and chaotic targeting of immigrants.
Yeah, that's
it is outrageous. It is unacceptable.
That's Letitia James, the Attorney General up in New York, who campaigned for office on the pledge of getting Donald Trump. Well, now she's suing him because, let me tell you what ICE is doing. They're tracking down these illegals however they can, right? They're now asking for information on people receiving SNAP benefits, and she's defending giving away food stamps to illegal immigrants who are not even citizens of this country.
At this time, we have victims and suspects identified, and we have charged 5 people in this offense.
Yeah, that's the police chief in Cincinnati, where they had that horrible beating. I'm sure you've probably seen it if you're on social media at all. The video clips have gone viral of 3 white people being beaten severely by a group of black people. I don't know what led to it. They made some arrests, and the police chief is defending the response time of the police department.
We have got to make great American cities safe again for families and children. If you want to take your wife or your children out for a meal, you shouldn't be worried about street violence. And the only way to destroy that street violence is to take the thugs who engage in that violence and throw them in prison.
Yeah, there you go. How about that? That's J.D. Vance saying, I got a solution to that in my home state of Ohio. If they are in prison, they're not going to be beating anybody else.
We start with breaking news out of Old Orchard Beach. A police officer there has been arrested by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. ICE's Enforcement and Removal Operations Unit in Boston says John Luke Evans was picked up in Biddeford after he illegally tried to buy a gun in Maine.
Yes, you heard that correctly. ICE has arrested a police officer in the state of Maine who is an illegal alien who, number one, shouldn't have been in this country. Number two, was trying to buy a gun, and legally he can't buy a gun because he's not a citizen of this country and he's here illegally. And number three, was actually working as a sworn reserve police officer in a small town in Maine.
Which is insane. And isn't that a thing now in Illinois where illegals can become police officers?
Non-citizens can become police officers. So there's a difference there. That's somebody who's here with a green card,
Okay.
but is not a citizen. But in Illinois, they'll let them do some law enforcement activities. So you as a citizen could potentially get arrested by somebody who's a non-citizen. It's insane. That's what you get when you have a Democrat supermajority in a state like Illinois and a crazy governor like J.B. Pritzker. In Maine, it is this is what they're saying in Maine. The officials up there are saying that they ran this guy's name through some federal government database or whatever, and that the federal government told them it was okay for them to hire him. So had he not gone out and tried to buy a gun, they might not have caught this. I'm not sure how he slipped through the cracks, but here's what we know.
ICE says Evans is from Jamaica and that he came here legally in 2023, but overstayed his visa. During the arrest, they say he told ICE agents he was trying to buy the gun to use as part of his employment as a police officer.
So we went out to buy a gun. The police chief up there says, we don't allow our reserve officers to carry guns. So I'm not sure why he felt the need to go out and buy one.
Also, wouldn't they provide the gun? I highly doubt.
If he was an officer.
Right,
If
that's
he
what
was
I'm
an
saying.
officer.
If he was an officer, I'm saying, why would he be the one having to go out and buy his own gun if they were allowed to carry?
So Maine is trying to defend this, but apparently, people, I think they have the same rule in Maine that they have in Illinois, but they claim the guy passed some federal background check. Anyway, that's going on. Coming up, Ryan Schmelz is going to join us. He has got some information this morning on what's going to happen next. Like why are so many nominees and particularly judgeships being held up by the Democrats in the Senate? Why haven't more been done on some of these nominees? We'll find out from Ryan right after the break.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Good morning. Eastbound 6440 out west is a slow go east of Winghaven through a work zone. It's construction that is causing the delay. We're down to one lane, though, and that lane appears to be the left lane that's open. But that's caused a delay this morning. 364 looks fine. So does eastbound 70 until you get to 270. That's where it finally slows. Southbound 141, slow pockets as you head towards 64. Southbound 270, that accident that had been blocking the right lanes south of Ladue Road has been pushed as far to the right as it can. Still some slow-moving traffic back through Page. Eastbound 64 slowing on either side of 170. Moderate volume westbound, and that's between Hampton and Hanley. Northbound 270, moderate volume 44 through the Clayton Road overpass. And there's a little bit of volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Sponsored by Gloria Liu with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
We all love our pets, those of us who have them, I can tell you that, but occasionally they have accidents. There's no doubt about that. If you have carpeting and you have pets that have accidents, I think you need Zero Res. August is Pet Appreciation Month. Did you know that? So Zero Res wants you to know what they do is environmentally safe for all pets. They don't use harsh soaps or chemicals like some of these other cleaning companies, and that makes a big difference. That gives you peace of mind that you're going to use them. They are pet friendly. So if it's time to get your carpets cleaned, your upholstery, every service in your home can be Zero Resified at Zero Res. Call them up right now. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to give you 3 rooms of carpet cleaned for $129, 15% off pet odor treatments, and they'll give you an additional $50 off if you need air duct cleaning while they're there. Now, this is coming up, of course, for the month of August. So be sure and let them know that you heard Marc Cox talking about it and you want to get that scheduled for August. They have a 4.9 rating on Google, over 5,800 reviews. So get your appointment scheduled now because August is quickly approaching. It's going to be here before you know it for the end of the week. Call them today, 314-474-2020, 314-474-2020. Ask for the 97.1 special. Spell it backward or forward. It spells the same. Zero Res.
Baseball is all about stepping up to the plate when it matters most. And when you've been injured, you need a heavy hitter in your corner. At Morgan & Morgan, we don't back down. We fight to get you every dollar you deserve. No curveballs, no strikeouts, just results. That's why we've recovered over $25 billion for our clients and fight for them from offices nationwide. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, proud sponsor of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Straight Realty has always been an industry leader when it comes to commissions. So it should come as no surprise that the recent Realtor settlement has only empowered us to continue offering our sellers even better rates. We now list homes for only 2%. Hi, I'm Christina Straight, owner of Straight Realty. Call me, 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and are negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon for Generator Supercenter of St. Louis. And you know, your home is your sanctuary. You need to take the first step to peace of mind with a free estimate on a Generac home standby generator from the #1 Generac generator dealer in the country, Generator Supercenter. We learned the hard way here in St. Louis during the tornado recently that power can be knocked out. But even outside of that, what if the power grid fails and it's 100 degrees here in St. Louis? You don't want to be that person. Get with Generator Supercenter of St. Louis today. Generator Supercenter of St. Louis.com. Tell them that we sent you along.
Visit STS Armory at their new location on Petroff Plaza in Pontoon Beach, Illinois. A proud family-owned and operated local firearms store and training center. Stop by the shop or call to sign up for classes. 618-931-GUNS. STS-Armory.com.
The Cards, the Marlins. Siteman Cancer Center game time 6:45.
Play ball. Siteman Cancer Center, national leader in cancer.
The home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM KMOX. Live, local, and conservative. This is the Marc Cox Morning Show. 97.1 FM Talk.
If I weren't around, you'd have right now 6 major wars going on. India would be fighting with Pakistan. You see what we just did yesterday with 2 nations that we're trading with. And during the trade, I said, I'm not going to do any trade deal unless you guys settle your differences. And we got it settled in 24 hours. I mean, they just announced it was settled, which is a tremendous thing. But Serbia, Kosovo is another one. We have many hotspots that were at war. I think a very big one was India and Pakistan, because you're talking about 2 nuclear nations.
I think it's safe to say that guy's been a little busy this week. He's solving wars. He's making trade deals. He's playing golf over at Turnberry in Scotland. And even a bad day on the golf course is better than a good day at work. Let's get to our friend Ryan Schmelz from Fox News Radio. Ryan, are you a golfer?
Yeah, I'm trying to be. I actually played this weekend.
There you go. See, so you agree with President Trump then that even a bad day on the golf course is still better than work, right?
Well, everyone's going to say that, of course. I actually like my job, so I'm good.
Well, me too. I would agree. I got to golf yesterday. It was only 98 degrees yesterday. Today it's going to be 99.
Lovely. It's perfect weather to just be sitting outside and doing nothing.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, totally won't bake in the sun or anything.
So on the issue of what you're covering today, I've been busy communicating with Billy Long, the recently sworn in director of the IRS, because I'm trying to get him on the radio. And he tells me it took 6 months to get that guy voted on and finally sworn in. They have really, for some reason, what's been the slowdown in the Senate on some of the president's nominees?
Yeah, well, what's actually fascinating is that this is actually a quick pace for the Senate to get a lot of these nominees confirmed. So Leader Thune's actually kind of ahead of schedule, but there are certain nominees that should be probably seeing a quicker process, or in the past have seen a quicker process, that just simply aren't. And Leader Thune has pointed out that this is the only president at this point in his presidency, at least in recent memory, who has not had a single nominee confirmed by voice vote or by unanimous consent. So they have to do this long, drawn-out process for all of these nominees, even some of the less high-profile ones, like the U.S. attorney positions or some of the deputy positions, and they've got to go through the procedural hurdles. They've got to have debate, and next thing you know, it eats up a lot of the Senate's floor time. So I think that's probably the big thing that's holding them back right now.
Yeah, so it's not, I mean, you can't point the finger at John Thune. There's nothing he can do to speed it up.
Well, he's trying to do that right now, where he's threatening to take away the August recess from Democrats if they don't, act accordingly or give them a path forward. So in many ways, this is his way of utilizing leverage in this situation, and pretty much saying no August recess. And as he put it yesterday, we can either do this the easy way or we can do this the hard way. So he is trying to put the pressure on Democrats right now.
Yeah. What does that look like? I seem to remember a debate once before about recess appointments. Strikes me Donald Trump did some of that in his first term, right?
Well, yeah, it's a quicker way in which the president can utilize or get his cabinet nominees confirmed. But it is kind of one of those things where, you might have people who caution against it because, you set a precedent that other presidents could do this down the road. Now, and look, President Trump hasn't needed to do the recess appointments because for the most part, all of his nominees have been able to get across the finish line. And that's where I think he really appreciates John Thune, was that he was able to get Robert Kennedy confirmed. He was able to get Tulsi Gabbard confirmed, Pete Hegseth, some of these ones that were a little more contentious than others.
Yeah.
So, he's had mostly success getting these nominees through. And I think there's a question of, well, yeah, you could use recess appointments, but do you want to break from that when you've actually been batting pretty high in your percentage?
It's a good point.
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. But don't most presidents do recess appointments? He would definitely not be the first one, right? Didn't Obama do quite a bit of those? And
they normally do them in times of it's usually, I believe, times of emergency. So I think where a recess appointment would come in is that, let's say that we're at war and the defense secretary has a heart attack. Then, the president might use a recess appointment to get that person into office as quickly as possible, because you don't want to leave the United States, without a top general when we're at war. I think that's usually the example I hear for recess appointments. And so I think, I don't think they're off the table, but I think that there's just, they're going to say, well, let's try to actually just get them through the old-fashioned way first before we try the extreme terms.
I hope they cancel their recess. I got to be honest. But not to get in the weeds, Ryan, I've only got about a minute left. It doesn't have to be a certain type of recess in order for the president to be able to make a recess appointment. Like they have to be out for a certain amount of time.
Yeah, they have to be out. I forget what these specific numbers, but they do have to be pretty much out and officially not gavelled in.
Yes.
So August recess would probably actually be an appropriate time to do it.
It probably would. Ryan, good luck with your golf game, my friend. We appreciate it.
Hey, Sam, to you. Thank you.
All right. See you soon. Appreciate that. Ryan Schmelz there live in D.C. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I know the president's chomping at the bit to get some of these other people in office. Billy Long told me that every interview request that they get, and I see Holman on the TV, and they must give him more access. But some of these other appointees, the lower level appointees, they have to go through the White House media office to get permission before they do interviews. So he's still waiting on his approval. So we'll get him here eventually. I'm anxious to hear what changes he's wanting to make in the IRS. How about that? Coming up, we're going to get to our friend Ryan Wiggins on money laundering and the DOJ.
It's one of baseball's fiercest rivalries, the Cubs versus the Cardinals, and the action returns to Busch Stadium the weekend of August 8th through the 10th. Feel the heat, the history, and the excitement as these two legendary teams battle it out under the summer lights. 3 big games, 2 historic teams, 1 electric atmosphere you won't want to miss. Great seats remain. Secure yours today at Cardinals.com.
This is Wilson Contreras, San Luis Cardinals, for the Lou.
Summer in St. Louis means one thing: Cardinals baseball. It's more than a game, it's an STL tradition. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, the boom of the fireworks. It's the soundtrack to summer for Cardinals Nation. So grab your cap and glove and take your spot in the stands, because in St. Louis, baseball is more than a melody, it's our favorite song.
All right, just saw my friend Chad Hansen yesterday when I was golfing out at Old Hickory. Man, that guy can smash a golf ball. Let me tell you what. You know what else he's good at? Taking down trees and helping you with your yard, because he runs Hansen's Tree Service, and they do such tremendous work. You're not going to believe it. They had a lot to do with helping clean up around Forest Park with some of those huge trees down there that were down, and they've taken a lot of that back to their facility out there in St. Charles County, and they've turned it into mulch and compost. And if you need any of that stuff for your house or your yard, just go to their website. You can order mulch, you can order compost, which is fantastic for your garden and all of that stuff, right on their website, which is hansenstree.com. Call them for all your tree needs. They'll send a certified arborist to you. 636-379-1830 or online at hansenstree.com.
I'm Nicole Murray with Your Money Now. Alphabet's Waymo is planning an expansion of its robo-taxi service to Dallas next year. Rental company Avis Budget Group will manage Waymo's fleet in Dallas as Tesla, Amazon's Zoox, and an array of autonomous vehicle startups try to make driverless transportation viable in the U.S. Waymo has surged ahead. Faced with intensifying pressure from President Trump to bring more jobs to the U.S., Apple is opening a manufacturing program in downtown Detroit. The Apple Manufacturing Academy, which is being administered by Michigan State University, will offer workshops on manufacturing and artificial intelligence to small and medium-sized businesses when it opens in August. Reuters reports that NVIDIA placed orders for 300,000 H20 chipsets with contract manufacturer TSMC last week. The Trump administration this month allowed NVIDIA to resume sales of H20 graphics processing units to China. Futures are slightly higher. That's your money now.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
We do have some volume out there today. At this hour, there is a jam on eastbound 64. We've got road work east of Winghaven that's really causing a delay. So slow pockets west, well, we'll call it east of Highway N to just a little west of 94. Now that's all road work. We've got moderate volume then at Timberlake Manor. Southbound 141 is pretty heavy and slow. Ladue Road down through 64. Then 64 picks up again, but it's moderate volume on either side of 170. 70 isn't bad eastbound. There was some moderate volume around 270, but that's the worst of it. Southbound 270, some volume at Ladue Road. Northbound slowing as you head on up, especially toward Ladue Road itself. But it's also slow around Big Bend. We had a report of a stall there. And some volume westbound on the Poplar Street Bridge. And mind you, it's not a solid jam, just a little slow there. This report brought to you by the Diamond Shop. The Diamond Shop, making St. Louis sparkle for over 100 years. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative. It's interesting how this happens, that you think, okay, retirement is pretty far off. And I've been saving, or we've been saving, and we think, okay, this is good. And then you wake up one morning and you realize
your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction.
And you think, okay, well, I got to do something here because I think I've saved enough, but I don't know. And you know what? You're right. You have got to have a written retirement financial plan in place. And for me, the place to go is Financial and Tax Architects. They're trusted throughout St. Louis. They've helped so many people. And what I like that they do, a couple of things. One is they teach you how things work. And then they say, okay, let's sit down and come up with a plan that's tailored to you, to your values, to what you want to do in the future. So go to a class and see what you think. You have to register. Call 314-888-5101, 314-888-5101.
Who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset? Well, if you can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation today, 314-569-1050. Now hiring qualified carpenters. BannerConstruction.com.
Annie Fry here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They are the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Tony LaRussa here. Has your loss of energy and weight gain thrown you a curveball in your relationship? If so, go see my friends over at Victory Men's Health. Discreet first-class professionals will help you hit those curves out of the park. VictoryMen'sHealth.com. That's VictoryMen'sHealth.com.
I'm Dr. Nick Barnes at Health From Within Family Chiropractic in Rock Hill. At Health From Within, our mission is to transform the way you manage your health by bringing you the truth about health and healing. We use proven techniques to remove interference in the nervous system and maximize health naturally, without drugs or surgery. Connect with me at healthfromwithinstl.com and join me for Maximize Living on this station every Sunday at 8 a.m. or download the Maximize Living podcast, healthfromwithinstl.com.
Feel like your paycheck barely keeps up with your life? At the Financial Freedom Seminar, learn how real people are building passive income and retiring early using real estate. It's all happening live in St. Louis with Lifestyles Unlimited, September 27th and 28th. You'll leave with a step-by-step plan to change your future. Text radio to 88007. That's September 27th and 28th. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007 now.
Cutting through the spin. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
We don't need more gun control. We need more idiot control.
Wiggins! Oh! Wiggins! All right, Ryan Wiggins in studio with us. I always play good John Kennedy bites when I get them, and they had him on last night, Ryan, reacting to this horrible tragedy out of New York. And, he's right. The first thing that's going to happen this morning is some New York governor or somebody's going to come out pushing for more gun control. And here you've got a mentally ill person who was walking down the street in New York in a two-piece suit and a long gun hanging on his side.
Look, guns aren't new, but this stuff is happening more and more. So what's wrong with people?
Yeah, it's a people
That's
issue.
kind of what Kennedy's saying there.
Yeah, it's true. He had a pretty long interview last night on Hannity, and he said, I know what's going to happen. They're going to come out tomorrow morning and somebody's going to claim this. They would have done it about the knife situation in Michigan, but you never heard anything from them, oddly enough.
Yeah.
They don't want to ban knives, I guess, instead of the nut.
Well, they
job.
could do that because Britain's trying to do it.
Britain is trying to do it. They banned guns, and that wasn't good enough, and now they're trying to ban sharp
They want
kitchen
to dull.
knives.
They want to dull the knives.
They want to dull sharp kitchen knives.
Good luck
Right.
cutting
now.
your steak because
Yes.
you can't have sharp knives.
Right. You just you got to do it the old-fashioned way.
Just eat it with your hands.
Eat with your hands.
Yeah.
Tear into that thing.
Ryan, I don't think you and I have had much chance to talk about this. Correct me if I'm wrong, since the whole thing broke. But you know, the interviews this weekend with CIA Director Ratcliffe and Tulsi Gabbard claim that they've got yet more information coming out on this Russiagate, as I'm calling it. What do you expect out of all this? I mean, I don't think it's going to get to Barack Obama, but I hope it gets to some of these CIA and intelligence officials who clearly withheld information.
Yeah.
That's what happened. They had the right information. They lied.
Yeah, they created a false conspiracy to frame the president of the United States, the incoming president of the United States.
Yes.
It's a huge, huge crime, and it's unfolding now. I can't believe it's taken this long, but I guess that's what happens when you have basically entire deep state working against you your entire first term, and then, of course, the deep state in control during Biden's presidency. But I've got another one for you, and I'll answer your question. I think that Brennan is the most vulnerable here of all of these people names being thrown around, because he is on record so much in Congress testifying. He's got, a spot on MSNBC. So there's a long record of him talking about this stuff, and they can use all of that to basically perjure him.
Sure.
And he is the most vulnerable of any of them. They're all vulnerable. Obama is going to have some immunity from the presidential immunity, but they're all in trouble here. So my hope is that not only do they start to cooperate with the current DOJ, but that they start to sing and say, hey, you know what? Give me some immunity and I'll tell you some other stuff.
Well, and we had Cully Stimson on yesterday from Heritage, filling in for Hans, and he said that the immunity ruling only goes so far, and it would not cover things like RICO or conspiracy. If there was a conspiracy among these 6 people in the Oval Office that day to conjure up something that wasn't there, it would not cover something like that. That would not be part of the president's regular duties.
Well, that's what they're actively doing. I mean, that's
trying to prove that in this case, like you're saying, Mark, that they're trying to conjure up some sort of conspiracy.
Yeah, that there was a conspiracy on their part to mislead Congress and the American public as to what really happened with Russiagate to harm Donald Trump's incoming presidency.
Well,
that would be the conspiracy.
Specific to Barack Obama, too, what he did in office really was very short. And then he was out of office continuing to do most of this stuff.
Yeah.
So the immunity would not cover anything
Wouldn't cover-
after January of 27 or of 2017.
Yeah.
But here's another one for you. We've talked about this kind of stuff a lot, but here's one that's breaking today that I've found and really was digging up this morning because I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to be on at 8:30. I got to really do my research here because this is crazy. But apparently there's a massive, massive money laundering scheme that they are uncovering. It's centered around this senator from Arizona who's kind of a firebrand. He's made a huge name for himself for being somebody who just goes after everything. His name's Mark Fincham. And he has, along with a couple other people, have uncovered a money laundering scheme involving real estate where here's the scheme. Okay. It's kind of genius and it's also stupid at the same time because it's so easy to catch. The people that are responsible for this would buy a piece of property for, let's say, $100,000. They would the same day turn around and sell it for $10 million to who? That's who we have to find out. And the people doing this were the top leaders of Act Blue. again. I mean, this is a new scandal for
Yeah.
them because they've already been involved in all these fake credit card things
Right.
and charging people who didn't have anything to do with it. So they've totaled up because it's not just one house. It's not just a couple houses. It's over and over and over this pattern.
As a way to avoid foreign contribution limits, for example.
Yes. It could be anything.
Well,
because-
but still, that comes to my mind. There are limits on what you can contribute, and there's certainly more limits on what foreign actors can contribute. But if that money's coming from overseas to buy a piece of property, that's not considered a contribution. I wouldn't.
This would be a way around it, but it's not really. It's not a way around it because it's so obviously money laundering.
So the money, the contribution then that the overseas groups would be making would be the difference between, say, what they bought the house for and what they, okay. So
I mean,
that's
it's
the way they're
basically,
doing it.
here's $10 million minus $100,000 that you just spent on
Right,
the
that's what we want to contribute.
over and over and over across
Wow.
multiple states. So there's multiple jurisdictions involved in here. Texas is one of them. So they're like,
Missouri?
oh gosh. I didn't read Missouri in there, but Texas, California, Arizona, there multiple states, multiple times, and it's always at about 100 times the value of the house, same day. So
wow.
Wouldn't
So
they do a better job of hiding that?
that's what I'm saying. Like,
come on,
really?
you guys, you're amateur.
Yeah, but if Kamala had gotten elected, they wouldn't have had to worry about it because
exactly
the
right.
DOJ would never have looked into it.
That's exactly right. And this has been now referred to the DOJ. So the DOJ knows about it. My expectation is that Congress will have to start doing hearings on this. And you know who's been really actively pushing for hearings and investigations into Act Blue? Eric Schmidt. Senator Eric Schmidt from Missouri has been very vocal about Act Blue. And so I would expect that this would be escalated pretty quickly because it's so obvious. And again, it's tied to these same people over and over and over.
Here's what I want. When they do bust them for this, can they just put them out of business? I know it'll pop up as something else, Dream Blue or something like that, but it's the primary funding mechanism the left uses to fund these far left progressive candidates across the country.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, I mean, we're talking billions of dollars here.
Right.
So can they shut them down, you think?
Well, I can't see how they survive this, but these people have got to start telling everybody, okay, this is the scheme, because there's going to be jail time at some point. I mean, you're not just talking about one crime. It is crime after crime after crime. Same people, same fundraising methods, different ways of going about it. I mean, they've got them in multiple ways now.
It's just weird that some of these jurisdictions would have allowed this because, I mean, you and I have both been in real estate. Mark, you have too. And there's such a specific process. Even if you don't have a realtor involved, there are so many different hurdles you have to go through that how would that not have tipped somebody off of, wow, they're 100 times the
But nobody's financing it. Like normally, if you were overpaying for something, there's only so much they would lend you for X amount of property. If they've got endless amounts of cash to fund it with, and it's not coming from a bank, then that would never play a part in it.
Yeah, and I get what you're saying because
wire transfer.
It seems like there's be a lot of hands in it, but my assumption is they have people doing all of that, and the only way that anybody could see the public record is just the stamp of sale.
Ugh,
Wow,
that's it. So, but they're finding it.
I had no idea, Ryan. Thank you for that. That's a little bit of breaking news for you this morning. Can you hang around?
Absolutely.
All right, Ryan Wiggins in studio with us. We're going to be back here in just a minute. We're going to talk a little bit more about a story developing out there in Lincoln County where they had all that flash flooding. Very, very sad story. We're going to get to that for you coming up.
Traffic from the 97.1 FM Talk Traffic Center.
Well, this morning hasn't been a terrible commute, but we've had some issues out there, and things are improving. If you're headed in from Illinois, the bridges downtown are now in good shape. There's only some moderate volume along northbound 270 at Doherty Ferry. Southbound 141, though, still jammed, headed for 64. And the worst of it remains eastbound 64. We've got road work east of Wing Haven, but we have a jam that goes back to Wing Haven. And it's really caused a delay, especially between Wing Haven and Highway K. If you're traveling in that area, it's a slow go. Once you get east of there, things will get a lot better. This report brought to you by infinite-vitality.com. I'm Sue Thomas with traffic on 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
You hear me brag about my experience with Rhino Shield all the time, but I love it when I get to read the experiences of other people. Here's another 5-star review. This one from Jude just a few days ago. 100% satisfied. Excellent service. Such a labor-intense project and completed with attention to every detail. Thanks, Rhino Shield. Just an example of a screenshot Darren sent me from 2 days ago. That was my experience. There are plenty of those reviews out there to read on your own. If you have considered painting or you're tired of having to repaint every few years, your business, your home, your condo association hits you up every few years, introduce him to Rhino Shield. Honestly, this goes on like a ceramic coating. It's 10 times thicker than regular paint. It lasts. It is beautifully durable. It can go on anything that's on the outside of your home, just about a wood, unpainted brick, stucco. It goes on. It protects it. It seals it up, and you don't have to worry about it. It's a brilliant business decision. It's a brilliant homeowner's decision because you get a 25-year transferable warranty that goes along with it. So call my friend Darren today. He will come over and give you a free evaluation. Tell him you heard Marc Cox talking about it. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com.
This summer, while you stay cool, our first responders stay on the front lines. The St. Louis First Responder Canteen is there to keep them hydrated and supported. Find out how you can help by visiting 971talk.com/talkinaction.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today. See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
Celebrate National Carpet Cleaning Month with Zero Res and purchase 3 rooms of carpet clean, get 1 free, plus $50 off air duct services. Book online at ZeroResSTL.com and take advantage of the savings.
If you've listened to 97.1 FM Talk, you have heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio every Saturday at 2, right here on 97.1 FM Talk, and you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC. Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort, offering small ship experiences with a shore excursion included in every port and programs designed for cultural enrichment. Discover more at Viking.com. That's Viking.com.
You're back with Marc Cox and Kim St. Onge. The Marc Cox Morning Show, 97.1 FM Talk.
You know, I heard my friend Alan West say this one time. I should say Colonel Alan West to say this one time, and it never fails to be true.
If you're feeding a person a crap sandwich with a smile, it's still a crap sandwich.
Yeah. I saw this statistic yesterday, and I had to play that, and I have to read it to you because I want my friends to understand exactly what's going on around the country. So there's going to be a lot of talk about gun laws. Ryan and I, we were talking about that a few minutes ago. The 10 most dangerous U.S. cities based off violent crime rates in the mayor's party.
Oh, no. This is usually not good for us.
No, well, the point is that the top 10 most dangerous cities in the U.S. are all run by Democrats.
Oh, well, that's a given.
Now we're at the top of the list, right? Of course, because we're here in St. Louis. We're at the top of the list. St. Louis, Memphis, Baltimore, Detroit, Cleveland, New Orleans, Chicago, Philadelphia, Jacksonville, right down the list, all have one thing in common, and that is that there's a Democrat at the top
Mark,
of the
why is
sheet
Democrat leadership having such difficulty solving gun crime?
Well, I looked at the comments on this story, and people were like, well, it's because people vote for ideas, and Republicans haven't had any new ideas for years, and that's why they've surrendered these big cities. Well, yeah, so now you have a vacuum where there's one-party rule. They get to do whatever the hell they want, which is spend more money and tax more. People leave. Population shrinks. The crime statistics look even more blown out of proportion than they should be because the population is shrinking, but the scum isn't leaving because they can't afford to.
Yep.
So they continue to commit crimes, and many people are trapped economically because they can't afford to move.
I'm a little surprised that I know we're always usually top of the list, but I thought Chicago would be worse, but I guess it's based on per capita, and they just have far more people.
Yeah, that's absolutely it. Hey, I want to mention this before we get done here today. Saw this story on News Channel 5. They're talking about the flooding up there, and that a lot of people had homeowners insurance, but they didn't have flood insurance. And what happened was like a 500-year flood is what they experienced in parts of Lincoln County. So there are a lot of people up there that are angry and shocked that they called their insurance company only to find out that they weren't covered. So now the people in parts of, there are like 50 or 60 homes destroyed. People are looking for help. And for neighbors looking to help, here's the phone number for the Lincoln County Emergency Management, 636-528-6110. They are helping coordinate contributions. They need donations, just like we did down here for the tornado victims. I mean, food, bottled water, cleaning supplies, hygiene products, bleach, mold abatement stuff, gloves, brooms and mops, anything that you can think of like that you could help. You could always even drop off up there at a couple of different locations. You can find this story on News Channel 5. But if you can help them out, man, they're in they're in a bad spot because a lot of these people didn't think they would need flood insurance. So it may be a good day to call your insurance company and ask that question.
But the problem is, and I remember I covered this story when I was reporting in Nashville, there was a flood and all these homes had all this destruction. And they were saying even with flood insurance, those insurance companies are particular about, well, did the rain come down from the sky and that flooded your home? Or did a river come out of its banks? And that, if it goes from the ground up versus the sky down, that can dictate whether. It's so frustrating for these homeowners who pay for insurance and then they're like, oh, actually, you're not covered.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, call your insurance agent today and ask that question, because what if you ended up in a 500-year floodplain and, 500-year flood and then weren't prepared? It would be a bad day is what it would be, made even worse by something like that. All right, we got to get out of here. Brian Kilmeade will be along. I'm sure he'll have the latest on that horrible shooting in New York. We'll get Annie and the Mark Reardon show in here a little bit later today. We'll see you back here Wednesday morning, starting at 5 a.m.
Like I said before,